Vice Mayor Salvino.
Here.
Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
Here.
Commissioner Odman.
Here.
City Manager Garcia.
Here.
City Attorney Ansbro.
And here.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you all to the Dania Beach City Commission regular virtual meeting. Today is February 23rd, 2021, and it's 7 o'clock. Call the roll, please.
Mayor James.
Here.
Vice Mayor Salvino.
Here.
Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
Here.
Commissioner Odman.
Here.
City Manager Garcia.
Here.
City Attorney Ansbro.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Can we please have a moment of silence? Thank you. And I would like to welcome, oh, there you are, Troop 10982 from Girl Scout Troop from Dania Beach, here to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Hey, ladies, how are you? Oh, you all are so cute. Okay, we're going to try and unmute you all so we can hear you. Hold on. All right. Welcome to virtual Dania Beach. We're going to stand for our pledge, and we'll be waiting on you to sound off.
Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
All right. How awesome. Thank you so much, Troop 10982, for coming and doing our pledge. You're welcome anytime. If you want to do it every time, that's fine with me too. And I want to thank Monica for helping facilitate this. So thank you all. Have a good night.
Bye,
guys. Okay, moving on to special presentations and special event approvals. We will first have a presentation on Dania Point Special Event Annual Program from Kim Butler from Dania Point. I know I saw her. All right. Well, that's her start a video and unmute her. Kim, can you hear us? There you go.
Hear you fine. There we go.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, and I hope everyone there is too. And thank you all for the opportunity. Good evening, Mayor James, City Commissioners, City Manager Garcia. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to present this evening. We're looking at a special events application for Dania Point. This would be an annual event, and it would highlight our performance activities at Dania Point. We're working very diligently to create an iconic destination in Dania Beach, and we've envisioned a vibe that is welcoming, engaging, and buzzworthy with this special event application for performance entertainment. The idea is that we would provide performance artists along several zones of the phase 2 piece of the development in Dania Point, and would provide entertainment and performance activities on Friday evenings, Saturday afternoons, and Saturday evenings, and Sunday afternoons. The proposal that you have is allows us to activate up to 8 different zones along Point Drive, Point Boulevard, and also on Sunset Drive, where we currently hold the Cars at the Point, and then to be included in this proposal and activated a little bit later on is in the hotel district along Point Boulevard. So what we are proposing is a variety of different kinds of programming. So performance artists, when we say that, what does that look like? That's really your stilt walkers, an LED butterfly lady who is there to greet you as you come into the main street, a magician, and human statues that look like roses and then suddenly move. And the whole idea is really just to create a wonderful, warm, and welcoming vibe for people that are visiting. Some of the interactive programs that we're suggesting include children's programs, yoga and meditation, different arts programs that we would be able to do on the afternoons, and then some music as well from solo, duo, and maybe trio artists. We feel that this program would run virtually every weekend. And it would really be just an experience for people, not only just for visitors, but for residents as well, to be able to come out and enjoy really all that Dania Point has to offer, and really give people a reason to come out and come to Dania Point. We currently have programming that is in place, the Cars at the Point, which runs once a month. And then we have our Friday night markets, which have been wildly successful, running the 2nd and 4th Fridays of each month. So these would be also rolled into that program. We've circulated the comprehensive calendar so that you can see what those activations throughout the entire project would look like if they were all to happen at the same time. Obviously, we've got to take into account different things like weather and special events as well. And not all zones would be activated at the same time, although it would certainly be our hope that as we get busier and busier and more attractions open up at the center, that the activations would really follow as well. Are there any questions?
I have questions. So essentially, this seems like it is every weekend, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of every weekend through the end of June?
Actually, this is every weekend through, yes, that's correct.
Okay, what are we doing about, do you have a plan for the increase of, I would assume, public safety calls that will probably happen every weekend, or do you have a dedicated police officer for these events?
Our security plan, so that's a great question. This plan is really designed to enhance some of the programs that are already there, and we've taken into account a lot of the different opportunities that you need to do to be able to support this plan. So in terms of our security, the security at Dania Point has been looked at and is constantly being tweaked. So when we do have things that are going on property like this, there is always additional security and additional eyes that are put on to ensure the public safety.
I asked for, law enforcement versus security because I learned some things in the past couple of weeks. Another situation that we're going to discuss a little later, but security will still have to call BSO if something happens, I believe. Is that correct? They couldn't.
I'm sorry, it's very difficult to hear you. Can you repeat the question?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So security would have to contact BSO if there was an incident. I remember having Dania at the Dark and festivals like that, and I remember we having to have a certain amount of BSO presence and security there, because there's one thing to have the security that is there at, at Dania Point, but if something happens, I believe that, security would have to then contact BSO as well. I would like to know if anyone sat down with Danny Marks to see how, he felt about what this could potentially mean, or if not, I mean, I would love to have his blessings on this, as well as he would be the one, his department would be the one having to, respond to the service calls.
Agreed. And I don't think that there's anything that we do at the property that does not take that into consideration. And certainly with having the new BSO office located at Dania Point, I think that we have an opportunity there as well. So these are performers. We're not talking about a single location where there is a crowd gathering, but this is the type of performance where they're strolling the sidewalk just like our customers are. So it's not the whole intent behind the program is really to just enhance that experience of people that are walking from Firebirds, maybe down to Tommy Bahama, and to be able to, the folks that are, headed to Bolero to have some fun, that they see something that's sort of that makes their evening and their experience there a little more engaging. So it's not as though this is like a sit-down concert where we expect people to gather and congregate and sit. It's really more of a very fluid opportunity for people to just enjoy the atmosphere.
Okay, yes, Commissioner Llewellyn?
Thank you, Mayor. Kim, isn't this something similar to what you all did there before COVID, when you had some, like when Dania Point first opened and there were like some performance art on the sidewalks, and it was like going from place to place, so it was like little entertainment for people coming and going?
Exactly. This is, thank you for referencing that. We did have a couple of opportunities where we had some acrobats and we had the jugglers, and this is along those lines. We'd like to think it's a little more upscale than that, to be able to, create the vibe that we're working toward. So yes, we have done this before. It's been very successful. And the nice thing about the program is that it really causes people to stop and see and engage. And that's really what we're looking to do.
I remember it was very interesting last time and it brought people around to kind of take pictures and that sort of thing. So it definitely brought some attention.
It does, and people will snap pictures and post it on social media, and so it creates a very positive image, not only for Dania Point but for the city as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes, hi, Kim. I wanted to commend you because I see you. I go to the gym. I'm a member of the UFIT, and I see the police there all the time. I actually see security and police. So I was wondering and I see them around the clock. So I wanted to know if you hire the police or you hire BSO to be there round the clock, because I always see them, and it's something that makes me feel safe on a regular basis. So I wanted to know if how often you have them.
Absolutely. We actually have 24/7 security, and we do have, and that is supplemented through details with BSO.
Okay. And I just also wanted to thank you. The night market has been a wonderful, huge success. The kids love it. A lot of people love it. And I think that you guys are complementing what we're doing in our strategic plan, which is trying to make Dania Beach a destination location. And when you can think outside the box and bring new and different, entertainment to the city, it's a really great thing. So I thank you very much for what you're doing and adding to the city.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I don't think I have any further questions. I think I would like to see how, if there are issues, then we would address the issues as they would come. That's my thoughts on it. Other than that, I think it's a good thing. I think people need to be able to go outside and have events and just walking around. And I thank you for promoting and marketing the way you're supposed to, and making sure that people have something to do. So Are there any other issues, City Manager Garcia?
No, manager, we've been really satisfied with the work that's going on in Dania Point, and we're also excited about the grand opening of our substation. So that'll definitely address some possible concerns, and certainly the level of proactiveness on security just gets better.
All
Thank-
right. Do we have a
thank you.
motion? Do we have to approve it? Yeah, a motion in a second.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll have a presentation on the Oasis Point Waterfront Residence by Asi Symbol. You know, I just saw him.
Thank you very much.
You are most welcome. Asi, are you there?
I am, Mayor. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Great to see you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Great to see you again. Great to see you, Commissioner Llewellyn and Commissioner Oatman and Commissioner Davis. Congratulations. And Vice Mayor, I don't think we've met officially, but I'm glad to make your acquaintance here. But I wanted to thank all of you guys for all your help and your support in getting our project approved on the corner of Bryan Road and Sterling. We're under construction. We're super excited. This is a real great opportunity for us, and an opportunity to showcase how we can contribute to the city of Dania Beach with all of your help. And so, really the point here, and City Manager Garcia was very helpful in arranging this. Thank you for that. We wanted to invite you to our groundbreaking ceremony 2 weeks from Friday at 4:30 p.m. at the site, and would love to do something. I know, we have our team reached out to the city to, sort of maybe even, kind of, co-sponsor that groundbreaking, to really use it to showcase what is possible in the city of Dania Beach, when we work together, and how people can contribute to this great city. So really that was the point of me coming here, is just to invite you all and get your enrollment and involvement in the groundbreaking. And we're just super excited to have this opportunity and build in this great city. And I wanted to thank you for that opportunity.
All right, I see. So that's March the 12th at 4:30, correct?
It is.
Just so that everyone has it on their calendars. And thank you so much. You have been a joy to work with, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. You've been a joy to work with, Mayor James. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Next, we'll have the Job Training and Career Development of Financial Assistance Pilot Program, spearheaded by Commissioner Llewellyn. And Mr. Gabaton, is Josh here? Oh, I see him. Okay.
There's two other people that are going to be joining us as well,
What's their name?
who will speak. Tony Ash from Career Source, and
Carla Pinto.
Carla Pinto, yes, from
Wow.
Broward College.
How you doing, man?
I am well. I'm trying to get Carlos on here as well, so we can all be here at the same time. I'm well. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I look forward to coming back down there.
I know we're waiting on you. You know, we have a totally different staff, and I'm sure everyone will be pleased and excited to meet you. You're a tremendous resource, and thank you for your service.
Said the other day, it's a little cold up there. I'm sure he's ready to come down here.
Oh, yes.
So, okay, this is going to be sort of a joint presentation. I'll start it off. I've been working with Josh for some time on this, actually, and I'm going to finish off the presentation, and then I'll conclude. But primarily, this was something that we actually passed for our budget for this fiscal year. And that because this was done before our newest electeds were part of the commission, I wanted to, number one, oh, I see Joe McCarthy here as well. Good, excellent. I wanted to make sure to update them as far as what's going on and what the project is about, and then also kind of give an update as to what we've been doing and what our next steps are. So we have all been working on this very diligently. It's been a wonderful partnership with a number of different organizations, and everybody's had a piece in this, and I'm very excited and hope it's going to be a real success. I know that lots of people are excited about this. We've been talking about it. A lot of different meetings that I've gone to, people have been talking about it. So
Before you start, Commissioner Llewellyn, can I ask everyone who's not speaking to mute their microphones, because I'm getting background feedback from some of us. So if everyone except Commissioner Llewellyn can mute their microphone so we can have uninterrupted presentation. Go ahead.
and then we'll switch to the next person and everybody can mute for, for everybody else. Okay, so essentially what this is we, like I said, we did approve a $75,000 for a pilot program for fiscal year 2021. And what we wanted to do, the whole goal of this was to try to, initially it was to have an opportunity to get training and education to individuals who needed it, and be able to get them into higher paying jobs. Well, COVID happened and it kind of amped that up a bit, because now with COVID, there's a lot of people, in addition to people that were already unemployed, there are now people who are unemployed, might not ever get a job back in the same industry, and now need to look at other areas where they might be able to be employed. Frank has my presentation, so if he wants to put that up, we can start. And I want to thank Josh for all of his help with this. He's done a tremendous amount of work on this and really put everybody together and did a really great job. So there we go. Thank you. So we want to focus primarily on areas that this city really is an industry leader in. We have our American Maritime Officer Simulation Training Assessment and Research Center. We have CTEC, FAU's Institute for Ocean and Systems Engineering. We have Director Shipyards. We have the 120 slip marina that we have. We have Dania Beach Pier, and we have boating and fishing. So this city has a lot of maritime opportunity, and I'm sure we all know that. That's something that we pride ourselves on. It's something that we've talked about in strategic planning, and it's definitely something that we can really, it will help us in the future. It'll help individuals to get into these jobs. And an interesting thing is that even with COVID, this industry is still thriving. They're still building boats. There's still people are upgrading boats. They're doing work on their boats. They're going out fishing. They're doing all these different things. And you need people to work in that industry. And I'm sure we all know the maritime industry notoriously has difficulty finding skilled workers. So Frank, you can go to the next one. So one of the problems that we have in finding people to work for this industry has been that they just don't have the skills, and they need to go through certain certification programs, not necessarily college, but certification programs that are a little shorter, but can actually offer a much higher wage once they have those skilled degrees. So we were looking at, we looked at the unemployment rate for our county. It is climbing, obviously, with COVID. And we already, not going to propose, we already did propose and have approved this job training, workforce development, and certification financial assistance program that would encourage adolescents, recent high school graduates, residents involved in the marine industry, and more importantly, individuals recently unemployed due to the coronavirus to re-enter the workforce and obtain higher salaries. But this is something that is needed. We've already needed people to be skilled in these areas, but now we have even more of an opportunity, like I said. So you can go ahead and move to the next page. As I was saying, the objective was basically to give opportunities to individuals who wouldn't otherwise even look at a program like this. There's a lot of people out there that are stopped by certain obstacles in their life, that they won't even attend a meeting about a program like this. They won't attend a meeting about going to school for free. And you're going to hear about some of the different resources that are being provided. But if they have the opportunity to, they know that they're going to be able to have the opportunity to actually follow through on this, they may actually be more interested in attending a program and learning more about it. So we made a point of trying to work with some other groups, including Career Source Broward College, and the marine industry of South Florida. You can go ahead and go on to the next one. Okay. Like I said, some of the things that that we want to do is provide some financial assistance to individuals who sign up with one of these programs. So they're going to sign up through Career Source Broward for specific programs through Broward College, and then it would be triggered where they would actually be able to obtain a grant from the city with money that's already been put aside for this. Some of the things that financial assistance would help with would be the list that's here, which includes transportation, child care and elderly care services, adolescent tutoring programs, rental and utilities assistance, certification and exam fees, job training, employer wage reimbursement. And that, for example, would be like somebody that might be working 6 days a week at a minimum wage job, and they can't afford to take some time off in order to go to classes. Well, these grants would help supplement that. So this way they actually might be able to take some time off to be able to attend the classes. Required educational books and supplies, required apprenticeship tools, tuition loan default at other educational institutions. And that would only be in a scenario where somebody actually wants to get into this particular field, and what's holding them back is they have so much debt from the prior defaults. They have other issues with defaults that they aren't able to. So we would want to help certain individuals, but we could address that on a case-by-case basis as need be. Okay, so next page. Okay, before we get started with this section of it, let me just see what else I have here. The most important thing that you have to realize is that these grants that we're going to be handing out are going to be tied to the specific program. So the whole idea is that we're going to put together a scenario where somebody is actually enrolled in a program. They are going to be working towards these certifications, which in Broward College, in some cases, they have expedited programs, so it's not going to take quite as long. And then they'll be able to receive the grant from the city in order to pay for the other issues that are within their life that they need some help with. What I'd like to do now, I guess, is turn this over to Tony Ash, let him talk about the things that Career Source Broward has been doing and what they've been working on as far as this aspect of the program, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn, and thank you to Mayor James and the Dania Beach City Commission for the opportunity to collaborate on this program. My name is Tony Ash, and I'm the Vice President of Communications and Business Relations with Career Source Broward. We're excited about our role with this program. Some of the things that we feel we can do through this program is provide financial assistance for training opportunities for Dania Beach residents through our on-the-job training, which is also known as OJT, our on-the-job training program, our scholarship program, where residents can receive up to $12,000 in scholarship assistance to training programs, including those that train in the marine industry, and paid internships. We're also looking forward to working with the city to connect their residents with support services that we don't provide, such as childcare assistance and rental assistance. So I think that's going to be a huge benefit to the Dania Beach residents through this program and through this grant. And also working with the city to and the Marine Industries Association of South Florida, MIASF, to promote the registered apprenticeship program that MIASF has amongst Dania Beach residents and Dania Beach employers. I believe there's at least one employer in Dania that's participating in the registered apprenticeship program, that's Director Shipyards. So we are looking forward to seeing how far we can take that. And again, we're looking forward to the partnership. We're excited. Again, thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn, for bringing us on board. To Josh, all the hard work, City Manager Garcia, thank you for the time and energy that you've put towards this program. And I'll turn it over to our partners with Broward College. Thank you.
Carla Pinto here from Broward College. Frank, can you go ahead and change the?
Oh, okay. I am unmuted now. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. If you could move to the next slide, please. Thank you so much. My name is Carla Pinto. I am the Associate Dean for the Transportation Programs here at Broward College. Right now we have 81 students in our program, and our program consists of 66 credits and 4 technical certificates. As you can see on the slide right now, we have Marine Electrician, Marine Propulsion, Marine Technology, and Marine Systems. We'll go into details on the next slide, please. Thank you so much. Okay, so TC number 1, that's called Marine Electrician. It's a fundamental to a marine job. Students can work anywhere with this certificate. It's 4 courses, and here the students earn a BC certification as well as a Marine Electrical Engineering certification from ABYC. TC number 2 is Marine Propulsion. It specializes in the design, hull, propellers, installation of engines, transmissions, and propulsion systems. There are 8 courses in that program. Then TC number 3 is Marine Technology. Here we add corrosion and welding classes. When students acquire TC number 3, they also obtain all the certifications from ABYC and 1 additional certification from the National Marine Electronics Association. TC number 4, it's Marine Systems. Here we cover corrosion composite materials, and there are 8 courses. Important to mention that we are certified by ABYC, which is the American Boat and Yacht Council. ABYC is like the FAA of the marine industry. We started a relationship with ABYC 14 years ago. Also, it is very important to mention that in order for a technician to work in a luxury shipyard such as Viking, Hatteras, Bertram, he or she must be ABYC certified. Our program at Broward College is the only one that's focused on mega yachts here in South Florida. So you have an idea of the salaries. The starting salary is about $22 an hour. Our technicians, our students, make about $45 to $50 an hour. And when our students graduate, they are readily employed by the Florida Detroit Diesel, Caterpillar, Viking Yachts, Roscioli Shipyard, and Lauderdale Marine Center. The cost of the program is about $16,000, and that includes tuitions, fees, books, tools, supplies, the 8 ABYC exams, and the membership fee to ABYC as well. Broward College has a special price for the certifications at ABYC, which is about $150 each in comparison to $1,300 for the external individuals. After graduation, our students go on and they acquire bachelor's degrees in mechanical engineering or electrical engineering. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Tony. So you can go to the next page. Thank you. So basically what the hope is that if we can get people into these programs and help them succeed with them, then ultimately it's going to help not only the residents, it's also going to help the businesses that are in need of these skilled employees. And it's also going to ultimately help the city because, you know, we're going to end up having more people who are employed, who are getting paid better salaries, who are going to be, who want to live here. You need to have people that just simply want to move here because they want to be part of this program. And the hope is, there's a couple of hopes. One, it's successful and maybe, you know, once we are dealing with the marine industry, we can actually move on to other industries. There's some other industries that are also in need of employees right now that also are higher paying jobs. And a similar situation may be able to be accommodated to them as well. And then the other hope is that since we're the first ones that are doing this type of program, we're hoping that the word gets spread out there. We can then promote it, and it will be done in other cities as well, and maybe throughout the county. I can tell you that there are some of our federal representatives actually that are aware of this, what we're doing, and are very excited about it and want to hear more. So I'm setting up meetings on that as well. I know that the companies that are looking for these skilled employers are also very excited about it, and I've heard rumors that they may even want to try to pitch it at some point as well and help fund some of these programs in the future. So everybody's very excited about it. We're ready to move. The plan is that we're still dealing with some of the funding issues as to the actual procedures and how the money is going to get to the individuals. But we're going to be hopefully finalizing that this week. And then at the next meeting, we'll be able to come forward with a resolution to finalize the actual agreements and how this is working. And we'll do a vote on that, and then hopefully start the program by March 15th. That would be the goal. Once we do start it, or even before we start it, we need to start thinking about the messaging on it and how we're going to get the word out. I know I have already spoken with a number of people about promoting it. The city manager and I have talked about promoting through Dania Beach itself and on the website and things like that. I've also spoken with our CRA director about promoting through the CRA to make sure that those that are underserved are well aware of the program and have an opportunity. And going through the schools as well. So there's a few other places that I think we might be able to jump on and really try to push this program so that people are aware of it and they take advantage of it. So the plan is, once it gets set up and moving, we're going to keep coming back and giving you updates every quarter, let you know how it's going, how many people have signed up. Hopefully all 10 spots are taken. And then hopefully we have people waiting so that we can do it again for next year and maybe put a little more money into it. So anyway, if anybody has any questions, we're all here. I can take that down. Oh, like that. I'm sorry. Here's the page with the email and the whole thing that we'll be posting out there for everybody. So they're going to know how to reach everybody to get set up for each of these programs.
All right, well, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? No questions? Well, thank you all. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Joseph. And thank you, Mr. Gabaton. Have a great evening.
And I want to thank all of you as well for your work on this. Everybody's put a lot of effort into this. We spent a lot of time on it, and everybody's had a key piece in this. And I really expect it's going to be an excellent program that is going to see some real serious success. So,
okay. We Keep Dania Beach Pristine presentation. Commissioner Davis, you're muted.
All right. Let me see if I could share my screen. I did it earlier. Let's see. All right. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
All right, we're rocking and rolling. All right, well, good evening, everyone. I am excited to begin this proposal of an idea. As someone who has lived here and walks the beach for 14 years, I have made a lot of relationships with our morning beach people, our lifeguards, our residents, and there is a cry and there is a need to elevate our cleanliness of the beach. We do have the program coming, and we are starting the Parks Master Plan with the Ocean One coming. And prior to doing that, I think it's very important that we bring education and awareness to everyone in the community to elevate it and say we need to keep our beach not just clean but pristine. You know, back in the day I couldn't go outside unless my bedroom was clean, so I put everything underneath the bed and, you know, tried to go out, but it was surface clean. And a lot of times this is exactly what the beach is. It's surface clean, but it is not truly clean. It is not truly pristine, and we need to have a daily awareness and a way for residents and children and the entire community to come together through a beach cleanup campaign that will elevate the city and prepare the clean foundation for when we do, when the Dania Beach Grill comes and when we have the Thousand Mermaid project that we have already invested in a daily clean program for everyone. So let me see if I can change it. No? No. Okay, there we go. All right. So when I talk about surface clean, this is something that, you know, the beach rakers, I really would like to look into how they are manifesting every day. Every day you see these tracks from the beach rakers, they come across the beach. It looks like the beach is surface clean, but really the beach rakers just rake over the sand and they leave very dangerous debris underneath. And so what you see here is fish wire. And on the picture on the right, at least it's my right, you can't see the fish wire at all. But if I play the video, you can see. All right. You can just see how much the fish wire is buried underneath the beach. And why is that a huge problem? Well, it's a huge problem because it endangers our wildlife. It stresses our residents, it stresses me, it stresses our lifeguards, and really, our lifeguards are heroes. Not only are they out there saving lives, but they're also out there saving wildlife due to the debris and the entanglement. We have over 260 different kinds of invertebrates, turtles, fish, and seabirds that really get entangled in this kind of plastic and debris, and it can lead to lacerations and even death. And so I want you to see, like when the birds are flying around, it's a little video as well, that everyone, it just creates stress unnecessarily if we could just keep it clean. So here you go. And so this happens on a weekly basis. I get the reports from the lifeguards. And so this is increasing problem with the fish wire. It's an increasing problem with the debris. Another issue that is keeping our beaches from being pristine is unleashed dogs on the beach before hours, before the lifeguards come, while the lifeguards are there. The dogs are, urinating on the beach. They are leaving excrement on the beach. And I love dogs, but we do have an ordinance in place that says no pets on the beach. And I believe that we need to enforce those ordinances in order to have a pristine and clean beach. Here you see the dog is, just taking a morning swim, and you might just say, oh, what's wrong with having a morning swim before there's anybody there? And while I do love dogs, and forgive me for this next slide, but this is why I do not like seeing the dogs on the beach. You step in the feces, they leave the feces on the beach. So 700 feet of beach is really not what we want to see our residents stepping in. We don't want the children to sit in it. We don't want the children walking in it. So the beach needs to be pristine and clean. The next slide is our mask problem. We want people to wear masks. We tell people to wear masks all the time. However, the masks are a problem on the beach. And people are just leaving them, they're discarding them. It's increasing the pollution, and it's also endangering. It's a potential real bad problem for the wildlife as well. So we need to educate people, bring awareness to the kinds of problems that the mask can bring, because you can see that the wildlife is entangled and their feet could potentially be amputated because of the mask that people leave on the beach. And so the nets and the lines reduce the animal's mobility, and it has the potential to amputate their legs. So what do I see on my walks? I see dangerous trash of plastics, This here, I almost stepped on this little rusty pin, this nail that could have possibly caused tetanus. We have plastic, we have people leaving pizza dough boxes, ketchup bottles, milk bottles, sharp plastic bottles on the beach. This is not the reputation that we want our city to have. We want to elevate our beach to be the most pristine beach in the city. Um, the plastics are the most major problem. 10% of the solid waste is plastic, but 80% of that plastic lands up on our shores. And you can see here from whether it's beer or whether it's milk or whatever it is, the plastic comes up on our beach and it really makes it unsafe and unsanitary for the residents as well as the wildlife. And my personal favorite here is the turtles. The turtles, we have a big we have a big turtle nesting area at our beach. We're very proud of that. But the huge thing with the turtle nesting, when those turtles are hatched and they go into the sea, what they do is feed on the pelagic material, which is the upper level surface of the sea. And they ingest those plastics and they ingest because they don't know the difference between, whether it's food, they're just hungry, they're just entering life. And so it messes up their esophagus and their bowels. And a lot of times they die before they even have a chance to live. And when they get caught in the nets and when they get caught in the ropes, they're not able to surface to the top to breathe, or it keeps them from diving down to get the food that they need. So, what is the solution? Together, we need to protect our wildlife and our environment. It truly breaks my heart to see our seagulls sitting in the plastic sand, in a sand full of plastic and full of debris. It's not just up to the staff, it's not just up to the lifeguards, it's up to each and every one of us to pitch in and do what we need to do to keep our beach pristine. So I looked into it and I got some suggestions from other cities. This one is an example from West Palm Beach. One of the residents sent this to me, and it is it is a beach. They have buckets. They have a beach bucket station where the residents have three things. They say keep our beaches clean or oceans clean. I would use pristine. They grab a bucket during the day. They take it and they bring it back by the end of the day. And people are very happy and they take pictures that they are taking part in keeping the beach clean. I have had an offer from Right Way Funding. This is a company who has partnered with Lauderdale by the Sea, and they are willing to donate the baskets to Dania Beach, and we would come up with our own signage and our own campaign for it. But they have, they want to keep their beach barefoot clean, and so they have the baskets, which we have been offered at no cost to keep the baskets. They're just like the little Publix baskets that you take from the store. And, people can go and clean the debris from the beach as they walk on the beach. Next, would there be buy-in from the public? There's absolutely buy-in from the public. And so we have people who come out every single day who help to clean up the beach. I was walking on the beach and I picked up those Presidente bottles, and one of the residents just asked me, can I take those from you? It looked like you were enjoying your walk. And I was, but seeing this kind of debris, really interrupts the day. It interrupts the spirituality that I have on the beach, and I need to clean it. You have another woman, she just is in her bathing suit, but she has her gloves and she is cleaning the beach. Another woman with her dress, and just another man who just picks up what he can with his bare hands. So you have a lot of people who really care and want to see the beach clean, but I believe that it's the city's responsibility to take the lead and to begin to create the awareness that everyone needs to invest in making sure that we keep our beach clean. So why do we need it? This picture here with the junior lifeguards was taken right after we had the sand dumped on our beach after we put the new sand on there. And the kids deserve our future of Dania Beach, the future generations. They deserve to play and live and run on a beach where they can run bare feet and clean. So we have a Dania Beach Pristine program to help them. And I didn't want it to be just my voice saying how important keeping the beach clean is for the youth. I do have my new volunteer, well, he's not an intern, but he's my volunteer from the city. His name is Lucas Sastre. Lucas, are you here? Let's see.
Commissioner, is this something that we probably need to do a workshop on?
Well, this is something that I was planning to do, bring back for discussion and possible action. So,
okay. See, that's probably the first step. So typically we would bring it for discussion and possible action. We'll say if we want you to go through with it and go bring us back all these great ideas, and then we will further discuss it. So I don't think that anyone is going to disagree that we need to make sure that we're keeping our beaches clean. And I want to make sure that you're getting what you're seeking, a vote on something, or is it a different type of, that I asked for a workshop, maybe you want a workshop, so maybe we can all bring some great ideas to, make this something that maybe I've thought about something that you haven't, or like we have 5 different personalities that bring 5 different looks and views to the situation. So I will be willing to entertain a workshop to really gather everything. And so we're not just like, spending.
I don't have a problem with bringing a workshop for the entire campaign to keep the beaches clean, but the specific, beach basket program is something that I wanted to look forward to implementing soon for coming up. So we just have a couple of slides left. So this is really mostly informational. I know we all agree that it's clean, that we need to keep the beaches clean, but this was for a specific item that I thought would keep, and, and it was recommended that we do a presentation first, let people know what the information is, and then bring it back for discussion and possible action once I've had further opportunity to speak with the city manager and so forth. So we really
yeah, I don't know who advised you on that, but probably should have been discussion first. But we probably would need to vote if we're going to do the baskets, where they're going to be, and the branding that's going to be on them. And so that's what I mean by bringing it back for something that we could say yes to, and then you can kind of, start it.
Okay. Well, this was just a presentation to inform you of what it is. So
Okay.
I don't have a problem with bringing it back. I don't have a problem with doing a workshop, but I just wanted to, I wanted to present the idea first, and that's what it was recommended to me. And I did have my intern here, or my volunteer, who came to speak. So I wanted to give him an opportunity to speak.
I asked him to start his videos. And I've unmuted him, so we can't, while you're sharing your screen, okay, I see him all the way up.
Can you see me?
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, and good to be here as well. I am a current senior in high school and a Dania Beach resident, and I think this is a great idea to have baskets around our beaches to keep the beaches clean and to allow people to, at their own time and at their own pace, make the beaches pristine, as Commissioner Davis said. So I doubt people in Dania Beach's residents would want to see the beaches filled with plastic and other used items that people don't want anymore, so they throw it on the beach. I think this is mostly because of laziness, because they don't have a place to put it. So most people don't want to put it next to their food or next to where they keep their things, their towels, etc. So having a basket next to them would be a great idea to encourage people to put their trash or put their used items in the basket, and then bringing it to a garbage can near the beach, and then dumping it there instead of throwing it on the sand. And I think the younger generation especially would love this idea, because it keeps the wildlife safe and keeps the beach is safe for the people running, the people jogging, the people with their pets as well, and all around a great idea for safety of everyone there. And it's also a great idea because it provides for a nicer beach and scenery, and people always want to see things pristine, especially things such as sidewalks, roads, beaches, local parks, everything that can be pristine. People would like to see it that way, and beaches are used and a major part, I think, of Dania Beach, since the name is also Dania Beach. We talk about beaches a lot. This is like our major tourism, I would say, tourism spot, and that's why I think it's a great idea to have it.
Thank you, Lucas. Thank you very much. So we're just going to finish up here, but we see that I've been receiving emails about trash. So thank you, Lucas, for saying pristine. This campaign can not only just be for the beach, but it can extend beyond the beach to our parks and everywhere else. So that's what we want to do. Let me see where I'm at. Okay. So I just want to commend these people every day. We have Ruben, who goes out there every single day, our lifeguards, Corey and his team. He came on his day off after Valentine's Day because the beach was so filled with so much trash after everybody had their, celebrated their love. So I just want to commend the team that has already out there and doing something on a daily basis. However, what the research shows is that when people touch plastic and pollution, you can't just have a cleanup and a trash. You have to have the education and the awareness together, and having people to physically interact with the cleaning up the debris in order to make a behavioral change. So with that, that's what I wanted to do, is bring it back for discussion and possible action. We can definitely have workshops on it. I plan to meet with the city manager to discuss campaign and funding. We can have a workshop where everybody puts in their ideas. I value your ideas, but I specifically wanted to move forward with the beach baskets by the next commission meeting in order to get them made in prior to Earth Day event on April the 22nd. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis, I don't think we need to vote on if somebody's going to give us baskets to put on the beach. I would think that you would maybe get with Eric and the city manager, because I don't, that's just like them adding garbages or something like that to the beach. Now, the only thing that I think that would need to have some type of discussion is what's going to happen when they bring these baskets back. Who's going to be in charge of the sanitation and picking it up? Is that going to be a city employee? Are they going to dump it in the dumpster? Those are the only questions I have. But as far as just putting baskets that we didn't have to purchase, I don't think that you would need to bring that back for an approval. Okay. If you got support from the commission just to go ahead with that. So city manager, is that something that, could be facilitated with Parks and Recreation? They would know the best places to put them, and it's a donation, so it's not something that we have to fund.
Thank you, Mayor. Absolutely. I believe that this is a really good program, and Commissioner Davis just wanted to be, transparent, because she was very excited about this. But we could definitely work together with her, because I could see that there's consensus and all of you would support a pristine beach effort. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. The presentation on the citywide safety and beautification measures by Assistant City Manager and our Public Services Director.
I don't know how to stop it.
Good evening, residents, mayor, vice mayor, commissioners, city manager, and city team. Just get this away. There we go. Thank you. I want to start off by saying thank you, Commissioner Joyce, because Commissioner Davis, your presentation is actually a prelude to the presentation we're going to do now. And I think you're going to enjoy this presentation, specifically the beach component. My name is Candido Sosa Cruz. I'm the Assistant City Manager. I'm here with Fernando Rodriguez, the Public Services Director, And we're going to be presenting tonight on the title of the presentation is called Beautification, Excellence, and Maintenance. This presentation was developed specifically to address many of the challenges that we've been hearing these last few weeks and months, and specifically addressing the beautification, the safety, and the maintenance component of the city. This is citywide, all the way from the beach to State Road 7. Frank, if you could pull up the presentation, please. Thank you. Okay, if we could go to the next slide, and I'll hand it over to Fernando. He's gonna present the first half, and I'll go ahead and close out the second half. Thank you.
Fernando, you're muted. Hold up, Fernando, we can't hear you. Okay, go ahead now.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening, everyone, again.
There you
Fernando,
go.
Director of Public Services. A good place to start this presentation, we thought, was to look at the workload generators, which is really the inventory. And these are just highlights of the inventory as it pertains to beautification and maintenance. As you can see, it's pretty diverse and pretty dispersed, and quite a bit of it. A couple of 100 miles of roadway, a lot of sidewalk, and a lot of curb and gutter. You have a very large pier, which almost encompasses 8,000 pieces of wood plank just on the deck alone. And you look at the bins for trash, litter, just in Ocean Park alone, 63 bins just in one location. If you look at the 8 ramps, the on and off exit ramps that we have to litter control twice a week or more, those 8 ramps together encompass nearly 4 times the exterior of City Hall in area. So you can imagine what that entails. Next slide, please. Okay, to have the best looking streets, the cleaner streets or cityscape, Public Services through its streets division handles a number of key areas of maintenance. You can see street repairs of sidewalks. Of course, a lot of curb and gutter, as we mentioned earlier. Graffiti removal can be a challenge, and we're trying to stay on top of that. And hundreds of signposts throughout the city, spread throughout the city. Next slide, please. Now, solid waste takes care of the cleaning, of the litter control. And I want to point out that it's not just a matter of appearance. We think of litter as, you clean the litter, it looks better. It's also a matter of public safety and public health. So bulk waste collection is very important. Missed pickups are handled, illegal dumps. Litter control, of course, trash bin requests coming from our residents on a daily basis. We try to get to those very quickly to get a new bin out to the resident. The commissioner spent a lot of time and well spent on the beach. That's our jewel, and beach maintenance is one of the things we try to address continuously. And of course, the pier is very popular. Next slide, please. Now, the staffing that we use to address this beautification and maintenance isn't particularly a big group, considering the breadth, the scope, and the volume of work, as we saw earlier in the first slide. We have 5 full-time members in the streets division, 3 full-time members in the solid waste division, and the community development comes in with a parking team, parking enforcement, that has 1 full-timer and 3 part-timers. So not a particularly large group to handle the entire city. Next slide, please. Now, this presents staffing challenges. Obviously, our crews do a good job overall. We work very diligently, but let's face it, the staffing limitations hold back our performance. We cannot cover these zones adequately. We try our best, and we like to be a little faster. We're responding to roadway and sidewalk repairs, and it impacts other areas. Litter, it impacts trash piles. So we use the staff we have, the 8 people, the 8 folks in public services, and of course the community development component, to try to address all these areas. If you look at the very last point, the delayed or deferred projects, these are cyclical maintenance activities such as pressure cleaning all those concrete medians, doing the curb painting on a cyclical basis. What happens with these projects is that they often get put on the back burner or interrupted even while they're in progress, because we're constantly shifting staff from solid waste to streets and back and forth, depending on what the need is that day or that week. So that's my part of the presentation.
Thank you, Fernando, for being transparent and for discussing the challenges we have and how the team has to be pulled from one department to another department to address the need. And as the title states, beautification, excellence, and maintenance goes. Through all the meetings that we've had with the commission, with residents, with department heads, with business owners. We hear it loud and clear what your goals, what your high priorities are as far as the appearance and the aesthetics of the city. As the first goal states, we want the city of Dania Beach to be attractive and to have welcoming signs and beautiful, clean and travel corridors. We want the city to be safe to navigate. This includes roads, sidewalks, waterways. We want to see beautiful public art and landscaping throughout the city, not just in one specific area, not just in one park, but we want to see it from the beach all the way west to State Road 7. We want the city to be aesthetically pleasing and to be clean, to have clean public spaces and clean amenities. And as Commissioner Davis stated, our city gem, which is our beach, we want the beach to be safe and clean, and not just the beach, but the facilities at the beach, the pier, the bathrooms, the marina, the parking lot. We want it all to be beautiful. All this combined makes our city and lives up to the motto, the see it, live it, and love it. Now, in saying everything that we just said, we come together with the city manager and have some initiatives to propose. Next slide, please. The first new initiative is called the Beam Team. We've been working very hard in being creative and being able to present a solution to the challenges that we've been having. The Beam Team stands for Beautification, Excellence, and Maintenance. And this team it's a new team. We don't have that yet, but it will be comprised of 4 full-time members, 1 member per each one of our zones. These are the same zones that Public Services uses for their streets team, for their sanitation team. And the Beam Team will be collaborating with all the different divisions, not just in Public Services, but in community development, in parks, and with BSO. One example is, let's say there's an illegal dumping of furniture, electronics in one part of the city. Different members of the different zones could address this area working together. And again, we don't have to pull landscaping personnel. We don't have to pull sanitation personnel. We don't have to pull parks personnel. We don't have to pull code compliance to remove the illegal dumping. Having a 4 full-time team allows us to staff 7 days a week, staggered schedule, and every day there will be at the very minimum 2 individuals of this Beam Team. Next slide, please.
Candido, is the Beam Team comprised of already employed employees?
The Beam Team, it will be created new. We would open it up. Current employees can apply to it, but it will be a brand new team to the city.
Oh, this will be 4 new.
4 new team members. That's correct. Next slide, please. Thank you. Some of the duties that the Beam Team will be responsible for: proactive response. This is probably the most important and the most critical. No longer will there be a reactive response. It will be proactive. Basically, right now we're getting emails, text messages, telephone calls in the middle of the night, over the weekend. Sometimes we don't have personnel in the city to address it. We have to call supervisors and managers to come in just to address, let's say, a dirty exit or litter on an exit off I-95, illegal dumping in an alley, graffiti on a utility box. Again, curb painting, a car accident that hit some of our palm trees and no one is there to replace it. This is where the Beam Team will come into place. They're going to be proactively responsible for each one of their zones, and they will be addressing all these different components of their zone. They're going to take ownership of their zone. They're going to know every single corner, alley of their zone. They will become experts of that area. They will also be working with all the other departments. If there's vegetation blocking a stop sign, they know to call landscaping. If there's a cracked sidewalks, they know to call the streets team. If there's any issues with a car accident and litter along the sidewalk, they know to work with BSO. So the Beam Team, again, its sole responsibility is to be proactive, making sure our city is beautiful, making sure our city is safe. Next slide, please. This is another new initiative that we've come up with, and this is to specifically address our city beach. in this proposal, this is to create a new beach ranger team. This team is not new employees. We would simply be converting our current parking enforcement team to the new beach ranger team. The new beach ranger team will be patrolling the beach, meaning walking the sand along the beach and the parking lot as well. They would either be doing that by walking or by a vehicle such as a bicycle, a golf cart, or an ATV. They will be enforcing all city ordinances related to the beach with a core focus, again, on beautification and safety on the beach. They will be working in partnership with Ocean Rescue and hopefully our new beam team, and with BSO Fire and Police and our outstanding Parks and Recreation team. Mentioning Parks and Recreation team, I want to also bring up something new that the manager along with the Parks Director have discussed, and they're going to be rolling out extremely soon. As was mentioned earlier in the previous presentation, our beach rakers, they don't actually pick up the litter or the seaweed, they bury it. Once they rake it, they're pretty much pushing things under the ground. Now, with this new initiative that the manager and the Parks Director have come up with, we will be removing the litter, the seaweed, 3 times a week, not burying it any longer. So again, that's going to be rolling out because we hear it loud and clear from our residents that we need to come up with different solutions to the problems that we're facing. Also, our current parking enforcement team is comprised of 1 full-time, 3 part-time members. This allows us the flexibility to schedule different hours for different weeks, and it also allows us to have someone on duty 7 days a week at the beach. Next slide, please. These 2 new initiatives, the Beam team and the Beach Ranger team, are investments in our city. Go back to the back slide, please. Our investments in our city. Our city is growing. There's new development coming in, and we do want the city from one point to the other to be pristine, not just the beach. We want it to be aesthetically pleasing. We want there to be public art. We want there to be beautiful landscaping. So we have to invest in our employees to educate them and to cross-train them. The beach rangers will be trained, first aid and CPR trained and certified. They'll be looking specifically for littering violations. They'll be handing out violations. They'll be looking for dogs on the beach. Because remember, our current parking enforcement, they don't walk the beach. They don't walk their pier. Their main focus is parking enforcement, parking meters and vehicles and the parking lot. Now, by expanding their roles, by training them, they'll be looking for all these other violations. They'll be monitoring the bathrooms, the pier, and the park at the beach, and working hand in hand with the parks team, the public services team, BSO, and the lifeguards. They'll be also monitoring traffic and the capacity at the beach. They will be also working with our city engineer whenever there's flooding due to a hurricane, king tide, or any environmental changes. Next slide, please. Now, these 2 new teams, there will be a budget impact because this is something new. This is something that we're expanding, but it is an investment. All the costs associated with these 2 new initiatives, we're going to bring back to the commission during the budget workshop for your consideration. We'll be digging deeper. We're going to be doing a complete assessment and being able to present to you what it would cost for a full year of implementing these new programs. Other cities have beach rangers. Again, they do the same thing that we're proposing, and it works out. The beach is clean, the beach is safe, it increases tourism, it increases visitors, and the residents love coming out and being active in their beach. Next slide, please. This concludes our presentation. Again, I want to say thank you to Fernando for your hard work on this presentation, and we're ready to answer any questions that the commission might have.
Awesome. I don't know if it's a question. Yeah, it is a question.
Yes,
Thank you for that. Aside from having just beach rangers, like I have seen in other cities, and I spoke with the city manager about this, I've also seen just park rangers and park rangers being able to be on the beach as well, so that, because we have issues at our parks as well. In our parks, when we have sports programs, separating staff, having to enforce certain laws and certain rules and ordinances, because I've seen public get very aggressive with some of our staff having park rangers that can do both park and both beach, and you can cross train them, and they have a direct relationship and an access line into BSO. I think we not only need to look at rangers for the beach, but we also definitely need to look at rangers for the park. I know a few years ago, we approved that in our budget, but we then went through a transitional time. But that is something that I do want to revisit, as far as not just having beach rangers, but also having park rangers. So when we bring the workshop for the budget, please make sure that that is included, because I do think that is important. I think the Beam team is something that we can look forward to, and something that we can be, because I know all of us call and complain. I know I do. Every time I see that exit of Griffin Road in 95, I send a picture and I send it in, and I do it almost every week. And I know it's not our responsibility, but again, it's time for us to start making sure that FDOT and these other, agencies who are in charge of those roads, that we hold them accountable for what they are supposed to do. Even FEC, and who's in charge of, the railroads, because that comes back on our employees, and we take them from doing other services that they are supposed to be employed to do, to doing services that they, that are not of their responsibility. And I thank them, but either those agencies needs to pay us, or they need to do their job. And so thank you for the presentation, and I'm looking forward to listening to the rest of it at the budget.
No, thank you, Mayor, and the manager and the Parks Director have discussed the park rangers. And I want to thank you for each time you call us whenever you're coming from up north, because one thing I want to let you know is years ago, Fernando, I don't know if you remember the year, but the city entered into a resolution, an agreement with FDOT, in which we're going to maintain those exits. And we weren't aware of that until we were able to find that agreement. So those exits are our responsibility to keep clean, even though it's their highways. So that goes back to our limitations of resources, that whenever we go out there to clean, we're pulling individuals from their core service to do that. Now we have to do it. We agree with you. When you call us, guess what? It's very dirty, and it's embarrassing to us, and it's embarrassing to our city that anyone would have to get off in our city, and that's the first thing they see. So I do want to say thank you for each time you call us. You do not bother us, because that's the last thing we want anyone to see when they're entering our city.
All right, thank you. Anyone have any other questions? Commissioner Davis?
Yes, Candido and Fernando, I want to thank you for that wonderful presentation. I'm very excited about the Beam team and the Beach Rangers. During the presentation, I think I heard you said that they would be able to hand out violations. Are these fines that they would be able to do? Because it seems to me that, when I look at the reports from the lifeguards, I see, dog enforcement, this enforcement, that enforcement. Are they just going to be telling the people the same thing and then they come back without any consequence? Or are there going to be fines with these violations?
No, there will be violations. There will be fines with the violations. Right now, we do have ordinances that address it. We just don't have the personnel to be out there on the beach to be able to issue these violations. Again, our parking enforcement, that's not their role. Their role is parking enforcement, what the title claims. The purpose of beach rangers is to be out there, one, making sure everyone is safe, but two, part of the safety is that, as you presented in your photos, dogs are not allowed on our beach. It becomes a health hazard for dogs to be out there, for the excrement to be out there. So there will be issuing violations. There will be fines attached to the violations. And something else that we were thinking about is having security guards working the overnight shift from 8 p.m. to, let's say, 8 in the morning, because a lot of the times that the dogs are out there 6, 7 in the morning before staff is out there. So having security work the overnight, having that relationship with the rangers, it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
And also, as the commission remembers, a few weeks ago, they lit on fire our wooden stairs.
Right.
It could become, imagine our pier on fire. Yeah. That's the last thing we would ever want to see.
Absolutely. And I think it's escalating. So having these beach rangers at this time is very prudent and it's very proactive. And I like the proactive approach that you're taking. My only suggestion, I would, when you are doing this training, I think you should have a workshop or a conversation with the lifeguards who see this on a daily basis when they're out there. So just get their input because they're just very knowledgeable about everything that they see on a daily basis, what time it occurs. I know I do see it before the hours. They were the ones who knew where the homeless were hiding and, hiding in the bushes on the Hollywood side. And they had to point out to the Hollywood police who brought out 6 truckloads of debris from that area. So they're very knowledgeable. And I would just suggest that you include them, in their knowledge in the process.
Absolutely. The only way we're going to make the beach pristine is working collaboratively with each other, with all the different departments.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, get back to where we were. All right, special event request from Sharon Sharabi to host a community food donation every Wednesday, beginning February the 10th through July 7th, from 12 to 7. Do we have any issues with this, City Manager?
No, we've totally supported.
All right, do we have a motion in a second?
Move the item. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. I didn't see any citizens' comments forms that came in, but if there's anyone from the public who wishes to speak, please utilize your raise the hand tool so you can be recognized. You have 3 minutes to address the commission after you state your name and your address.
Mayor.
Okay. Yes, Tom?
I'm sorry to interrupt. You have proclamations next.
Oh gosh, sorry. All right. Proclamations. International Women's Day from Commissioner Ottman.
Yeah. Okay. He put his hand down. Whereas women play a vital role in the worldwide social, economic, cultural, and political development, and whereas International Women's Day, celebrated each year during History Month, is recognized globally and marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity, and whereas International Women's Day has been observed since 1911 and serves as a reminder of the important progress women have made towards equality in areas such as academia and athletics, as well as government and politics. And whereas the 2021 theme of International Women's Day is #ChooseToChallenge, inspiring each of us to choose to challenge and call out gender bias and inequality, to choose to seek out and celebrate women's achievements that collectively we can all help create an inclusive world. And whereas the World Bank data report on World Development Indicators found that 48.6% of females participated in the workforce in 2017, accounting for all global participation from females aged 15 and older. Whereas women continue to remain underrepresented in fields such as science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and whereas expanding and developing opportunities for women to enter such STEM fields is critical. Whereas International Women's Day is an opportunity to acknowledge and amplify the progress made to advance women's equality and expand opportunities for women in today's society. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Dania Beach City Commission and the Office of Mayor Tamara James, we can hereby proclaim March 8th, 2021 as International Women's Day in the city of Dania Beach, and call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens. From changes comes change, so let's all choose to challenge. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. On to Black History Month, Commissioner Llewellyn.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor, City of Dania Beach, Florida. Whereas Black History Month is a national event celebrating the contributions of African American people in their struggles for freedom and equality and their part in the development of our nation's history. And whereas in 1926, historian and author Carter G. Woodson, who is known as the father of Black history study, introduced Negro History Week as a reaction to racism and to highlight the role African Americans have played in the development of civilization. Since that time, Negro History Week has been expanded to encompass the entire month of February and has also undergone a change in terminology. And whereas in 1986, Congress passed Public Law 99-244, which designated February 1986 as National Black Afro-American Month. And whereas this year's theme, Black Family, Representation, Identity, and Diversity, explores the African diaspora and the spread of Black families across the United States. And whereas Black History Month offers us an opportunity to honor pioneer families and past elected officials of African American descent who have served our great city. Leola Collins, humanitarian, Collins Elementary School was also named in her honor. Jacob Robinson, first African American postal clerk at the post office, substation A. Thomas H. Hampton, first African American policeman. Veda Mae Peterman, first African American on the Dania Beach Housing Authority. Horace McCutcheon, first African American grocery store owner and first African American to serve on the Dania Beach Code Enforcement Board. Mildred Jones, community activist. Dr. Von D. Mizell helped found the NAACP's Broward chapter in 1945. J. A. Ely, first African American principal of Attucks School. Boise Ann Waiters, first African American commissioner. Chester Bird, first African American mayor. And Bobby H. Grace, first African American female mayor and commissioner. And whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community as Emancipation Day for over 150 years. On February 9th, 2021, the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach adopted resolution number 2021-020, specifically recognizing Juneteenth as an official city holiday for its residents and employees. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Dania Beach City Commission, we do hereby proclaim the month of February 2021 as Black History Month in the city of Dania Beach and encourage all citizens of Dania Beach to join in learning about and celebrating the contributions African Americans have made to the world, to our country, and to our community. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. I would also like to add myself, the youngest African American mayor in the history of Dania Beach. So thank you for that. Citizens' comments. Again, okay, I see you, Hortense. If anyone else wishes to address the commission, please raise your hand. You have to say your name and your address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes. Go ahead, Hortense.
Hi, good night. Me on my video. First, I would just like to say thank you guys for doing a wonderful job. I have been living in, I don't know if I live in Davie or Dania Beach, but I'm in between. I'm confused myself, but this is my first city commission meeting because I am a recent homeowner.
Okay, can you give me your name and address for the record, please?
It's 4217 Southwest 52nd Street.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's Fort Lauderdale, yes. My concern is I moved here in November and then we had that king tide and that flooding that came in. Unfortunately, on our street, I've lived here for over 15 or 16 years at a different location, which is considered Dania Beach also. We also have someone who works at your city across from where I live. And it's on this street, there's a catchment right in front of my house where this person lives, and just that block where I think the road meets at an intersection, and it's like a catchment. It's where all the water goes, no matter how small of a rainfall we have a flooding issue, and I have to call several times since I've been here to get it drained from the city, and they've been doing a good job in responding to us. But coming up to a hurricane season, my concern is there anything in place for drainage for this road? Or I was told that there's a big project coming up, and if it's any way possible, we could get this street to be a part of that, because it was really scary. I have my mom here who is an elderly person, and it was at one point, I work at a hospital, I was not able to go to work because of the safety issue that we had. So is there anything that's going to be done in addressing this?
I know we have several projects that are drainage projects that we have already approved. I am not sure if, I'm almost not sure that we will be approving any more streets, because there are several other streets that still have major issues, but we do have your information, and I saw the city manager writing things down. So But as far as us just approving another project, there are a lot that probably are already in the queue. So I wouldn't think that we would just add one right here tonight, but we'll definitely keep your street into consideration because we know that flooding continues to be a challenge here for all of Dania Beach. And there are many different places that have different and unique challenges. So we have your address and I'm going to ask the city manager or staff to reach out to you if that's okay.
That's fine.
All right. Thank you so much.
Again, thank you guys, and thanks for the good work.
Thank you.
All right. Good night. The next person, I'm not sure, says iPhone. Please state your name in record. Name your address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
I think that I believe this is Brother Mac on the iPhone.
Ah, look at you. Can you start the video, Brother Mac? Oh, I just pressed stop. Sorry. Okay. See if it asks you to start the video.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Can you hear me now? You know,
Go ahead.
My name is Terrence McElroy, and I'm representing Lighthouse Community Church along with Lighthouse for Students. Our address is 650 Federal Highway. And I came today because I really listened to these meetings very intently. There's a lot of information that passes through here. Now, I know I only got 5 minutes, but I want to say, first of all, congratulations to you and your executive team and the Dania Beach commissioners. You know, I mean, you guys do a great job. I see you off and on throughout Dania Beach, and I'm proud to be a part of Dania Beach. As I was listening tonight, I mean, I heard some really great proposals. That transportation proposal, it was just a really a godsend to hear it. But what it also did was it broke my heart, because the more that I sit here and I listen to what goes on at these meetings, I never hear anything about our children. Now, let me give this disclaimer. I'm not an educator. I don't claim to be a doctorate or anything in education, but I can read very well. And so what's going on now, and I'm wondering, are the commissioners aware of how bad the reading scores are, not just Dania Beach, Florida, across the country, where 2 out of 3 third and fourth graders cannot read proficiently? Now, I hear all these grand plans for kids out of high school, but the problem starts 5, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds. And if they can't read or write and they can't add, it's hard for them to get through. And so if you can't read by 3rd or 4th grade, your possibilities of graduating high school almost drop to 80%, that you will not complete high school. And that's just a fact. That's not me talking. And so most of the information I've gotten, and when I looked at the nation's report card by state on schools, I was dismayed. And it breaks my heart knowing that I worked in a place, maximum security prisons, where the bulk of these kids did not get an education. And so it just breaks my heart every time I hear another program or something that's going on, but there seems to be no partnerships with any groups that are working with kids 5, 6, 7 years old, because that's where the problem is. So I'm asking, as I heard the previous presentation, are there any partners out there? Is there anybody else that's doing anything? I heard that they were asking for grant money to do this. So I'm trying to find out if there are any partners or anything that the Dania Beach Commission, the mayor, that may be in progress that I'm not aware of. That's question number 1. And question number 2, basically, I'm trying to find out what's our COVID status of late, and what is the timeline for us to go to the next level. So my heart is about the children. And I need to know this because we run a program for these children. But it just breaks my heart to see that there are so many kids that cannot read or write. And we're about basic training for those types of children. So we're looking for partners, or maybe you know somebody. But that is a concern. And I think that if we don't start investing in our children instead of vice versa, we may not have the leaders for tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, Brother Mac. I've met with Brother Mac. I know that they're having something on this Saturday, correct, at 9 o'clock. That would be the breakfast fundraiser. That would be at Lighthouse Point Church.
No, not Light Community Church in Dania Beach, right there on Federal Highway. And it is a breakfast to commemorate Black History Month so that our youth will understand that there are people who have done things throughout history that they should be made aware of, because we're starting to find at that age, they don't care about Tubman, Martin Luther King. They're not thinking about that. And we're trying to help bring our culture and those quality ideas back to children so that they can dream bigger and get out of this cycle of poverty.
Yeah, I know that we have a plan to kind of our phase-in approach that we're going to discuss tonight of reopening of City Hall. That would include several other departments. So I'm not sure what Parks and Recreation will have scheduled for, or opportunities that they would have for the students. But like always, I would tell you to get with Eric Brown. I know nothing has come to me as far as partnerships and doing anything with the kids in school, because we would probably have to then have a conversation with the school boards to make sure that we are not interfering with what they may or may not have. But I will be able to give you a call after tonight, after we discuss a lot of these options. But I'll definitely be there Saturday with you to help with the fundraiser.
Right. Well, I thank you, and don't want to take up any more time, but my heart was just breaking as I'm listening to these proposals, and I just don't hear anything about what are we doing for those pre-kindergartners, those kids that are 5, 6, 7 years old. But I thank you for that time, and I'm not going to take up much more because I have to listen to the rest of this meeting. I'll let you go.
Commissioner Ottman wants to say something.
I was just going to say, Brother Mac, have you been in touch with any of the representatives from the school board? Because my son, who's in the exact age group that you're talking about, the public schools are talking about what they're going to do and what interventions they're going to be putting in place. Exactly what you're talking about. Because so many children obviously have fallen behind in the last year. So there's a boatload of stuff coming through the Broward County School Board, and certainly, Dania Beach commissioners would support that in any way they can. But I think a lot of the information that you're looking for might happen through there. And Mayor James also has a school-age child as well, so I'm sure she'll be able to sort of talk to you about that and what she hears is coming down the pipeline as we slowly start to reopen the schools and more kids are going back into it.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll take you up on some of those initiatives. But as I said before, I know most of you guys from the last couple of years, you've done a great job in helping and supporting what we've done. And so we just want to say thank you for your support, but don't forget the children.
One last thing I would like to say, Brother Mac, and thank you. It's not ready yet, but the library has proposed a program or a small program that would involve the community and get them outside and reading, and it's for the early literacy. So that will be forthcoming from the Dania Beach Library in a future presentation. So we haven't forgot about the kids, and I just want to thank you for all the work that you do with them.
Thank you very much. Good night, commissioners. I'm just listening to the rest of it.
All right. Public Muted, unmuted, okay. Here we go, Captain Marks. You're muted.
All right, how about now?
All right, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. As part of our ongoing efforts to combat violent crime in Dania Beach, our road patrol units have increased proactive patrols, including traffic enforcement. Sometimes routine traffic stops turn into much more. One such example occurred on 215 when one of our deputies stopped a vehicle for an expired temporary tag. The driver was found to have several active warrants for burglary. While taking him into custody, a loaded firearm was found underneath the driver's seat and safely recovered. Further investigation revealed a Michael Kors purse in the trunk, which is believed to have been taken during an unrelated burglary. That investigation is ongoing. Also of note, our recently implemented license plate readers have led to the recovery of several stolen vehicles. As you know, vehicles are often stolen in one jurisdiction, then utilized to commit crimes in another. Deputies are quick to respond when an LPR hit received indicating a wanted or stolen vehicle is entering the city, and the vehicle occupants are apprehended before they have the opportunity to commit any crimes within our city. Since the last commission meeting, we have responded to 1 aggravated assault, 1 aggravated battery, 2 auto thefts, 1 burglary building, 5 burglary businesses, 4 burglary conveyances, 4 burglary residences, 2 robberies, 1 sexual assault, and 11 thefts. We have also made 42 arrests, most of which are included in those crimes I just put out there. Since the last commission meeting, we had a decrease of 7 auto thefts as compared to the, as I said, the 2 weeks prior. A decrease of 17 conveyance burglaries, a decrease of 1 robbery, a decrease of 8 thefts. A couple other notable arrests. We had a burglary conveyance arrest where a subject was captured on video burglarizing multiple vehicles. A responding deputy recognized the subject as the same person in an alert flyer that we had issued. We also had a burglary with a battery arrest where a subject was angry over an Uber Eats order that he accused the victims of taking. He engaged in a physical struggle with one of the victims and attempted to enter the residence while threatening the victims. Since the last commission meeting, our crime suppression team has conducted numerous operations. One such was a proactive patrol, which resulted in a traffic stop of a drug trafficker and an arrest for possession of cocaine. Another operation was a probation sweep assisting Florida probation and parole. During this, a known gang member was contacted, and we obtained a search warrant, and we recovered cannabis and cocaine. The following are some criminal investigations arrests made since the last meeting. We had a criminal use of someone's ID and petty theft. A subject confessed to charging a $50 gift card to a customer's account. We had a burglary and grand theft where a subject used a rock to smash the window of a business, then removed $1,000 cash from the register. The suspect was a former employee. We had a burglary battery, and a criminal mischief arrest, where the subject caused severe damage to an impact window, then entered a residence without permission after another resident opened the door. The suspect proceeded to enter the victim's room and batter him. We had a burglary where a suspect confessed to committing a burglary to an antique store, removing costume jewelry. We had a large-scale vehicle theft case where we worked with our South Broward crime suppression team and our criminal investigations division. We served a total of 6 probable cause affidavits. Several arrests were made reference vehicle thefts. One of the subjects also had an active warrant for battery of a law enforcement officer and resisting arrest without violence. Our traffic unit continued with school zone enforcement with the assistance of the school resource deputies. Also, the traffic unit continued to monitor the speed on Southeast 5th Ave and Southwest 53rd Court with enforcement checks. We have not had any complaints in these areas in the last month. On February 8th and February 17th, our traffic enforcement was conducted with the assistance of 3 other motormen at a state-funded grant between the hours of 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Griffin Road and Federal Highway, Sterling Road, and State Road 84. On these 2 days, a total of 82 citations were written. 59 were for speeding, 23 were non-moving violations. The loitering at the bus bench in front of Publix and 7-Eleven has declined. 220 Southwest 16th Street and 21 Northwest First Ave, the homeless have been using this location to sleep, but we relocated them recently. There was a report of a male sleeping at the activity center at Frost Park. He was identified, documented, and trespassed immediately. At Griffin and State Road 7, which that area is in our jurisdiction, it's Davie and Hollywood, but we still went out there and arrested one white male for obstructing traffic and panhandling. We then reached out to Davie PD and Hollywood PD, and we got a plan together to help them with their issues so they don't move east. Just recently, this afternoon, we had a couple thefts of golf carts in Melaleuca, and we've been out there nonstop since we received the calls for service out there. And today we stopped a suspicious vehicle where the driver had a warrant for fraud, and he had a large criminal history for burglary, theft, auto theft. He also had 21.6 grams of marijuana in his vehicle. He's possibly the subject of the recent thefts, and that investigation is ongoing as well. Are there any questions?
I see none. Thank you so much, Captain Marks.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, our Fire Chief, Pelisar. Good evening. Oh, hold on. There you go.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager, and our fine residents in Dania Beach. I'm very excited because I get to report to you something that I was able to get taken care of with the help of our BSO education department. I am in possession of 100 helmets for adults in Dania Beach, for bicycle helmets. And we're going to be rolling out a class, a virtual class, where people can, learn all about bike safety. And at the end of the class, they'll be able to come to one of our parks and pick up a goodie bag and professionally be fitted for these helmets. So I think that's a good thing for the safety of our residents in Dania Beach. I want to thank Linda because we've rolled out the education program with all the city employees, and it's going really well. Just in one day this week, we had 10 people certified in CPR. So without Linda and the safety committee, this wouldn't be possible. And our education team has been working very hard to make sure that our team gets trained. I also want to thank Candido because he's put up an all-star EOC team. He basically, we're all training, making sure that we're ready to go. If we have any kind of emergency, we're all getting trained, national certifications, or we all go online and take the classes so that we're all on the same page come any emergency. And we're gonna follow the best standards when it comes to any training in Dania Beach. So, we have a great team that is able to put all this together. And lastly, I just wanna go over some stats real quick. And I'm just going to talk about Station 1, and that would be our Quint 1, which is our fire truck, and Rescue 1, which is our rescue truck. I walk over there every morning as I drive over to Station 17 also to meet with the men and women over there. And let me tell you, these guys are just happy to go and happy to roll out every day. But in November, Rescue 1 and Quint 1 ran 409 calls. In December, they ran 430 calls. And in January, they ran 397 calls. Those are all in those months. Now they're transporting 80% of the time. So Rescue 1's going to hospital 80% of the time that they're going on the call. And when you go over there and the women and men are just so happy and just excited to do their job. And you know, you find that. And the group that we have in Dania Beach, not just in the city staff, but over at the fire station, they love coming to work. And I'm just proud to be part of this team, and I'm just proud to, you know, have people that do that and believe in our fine city. So with that, I have nothing else. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Thank you so much, Chief Pelisar. I don't see any questions, so have a great night. We're gonna move on along. Consent agenda, do we have any pulls? Have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Favor? I think, wait, Commissioner Llewellyn seconded. So all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we have one bid for requests and proposals. Go ahead, Tom.
One is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, pertaining to an invitation to bid at ITB entitled Quotes for Air Purifiers, authorizing the award of the bid to Medical Decision LLC for an amount not to exceed $27,390, providing for conflicts, further providing for an effective date.
Do we have a motion and a second or any discussion on this item?
Make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, public hearing 9.1.
Is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 28, the Land Development Code of the City Code of Ordinances by amending Part 6, Development Review Procedures and Requirements, Articles 675, Temporary Use and Special Event Permits, Section 675-20, Temporary Uses Authorized, and Section 675-40, Standards and Procedures for Approvals of Temporary Use, to modify the regulations for approval of special event permits, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, further providing for an effective date. First reading, sponsored by Community Development Department.
Corinne.
Hello, good evening. Corinne LaJoy, Community Development Assistant Director, and I am going to make a presentation on the special events ordinance that is a text amendment before us today. This is for first reading. I do have a thank you, Frank. Okay, so if you can go to the next slide already. Staff is proposing amendments to the existing temporary use and special event regulations that are currently identified in the city's land development code. The objectives of the proposed amendments are to simplify and streamline the special event approval process and provide clarifying language. The next slide. So the following events will no longer require City Commission approval because we're proposing to eliminate that criteria from the code. And that would include events that occur over a 5-hour period or longer, events requiring street closures, any event requiring outside agency review, any event involving sales or use of fireworks or sparklers, temporary assembly use such as commercial carnivals, fairs, exhibits, craft shows, concerts, promotional activities, or similar events, and garage sales located on property within a non-residentially zoned district. So some other amendments that we're proposing is to replace references where it refers to the Parks and Recreation Director. We're replacing that with reference to the city manager or designee. The next slide talks about some additional changes, and that we're proposing would be to allow a single day city-sponsored event and events associated with a place of worship to occur on vacant lots. Currently, there's a prohibition on any vacant lot activity. The next is changes to include groundbreaking events as a permitted special event use. This is something that the code was silent to, but the Planning and Zoning Board asked to be included. So we made that change to the ordinance. The next is to amendment includes new language allowing temporary structures for up to 180 days to be approved and permitted by the building official with the submittal of an affidavit. The intent of this is to make it simple and expedite the permitting process for special events. The next is for temporary uses in special events exceeding the 4 times per year will require the applicant to provide a special event annual program package that would include information identifying each of those proposed events and And that could be approved administratively for that annual program. This is similar to what Dania Point just proposed and presented to you earlier in this meeting. They proposed like a package of activities and events that were going to occur on the property. This would be something that could be approved administratively for the smaller scale projects. If a larger scale project that includes or anticipates attendance of more than 500 people or a multi-day event, that would still require city commission approval, but it would capture a lot of those smaller reoccurring events on sites. The next slide, please. We do have a level, as I just mentioned, of special events that would still require city commission approval. And that would be for events more than 500 persons in attendance and consecutive multi-day events. So Dania Point has multiple events occurring like every Friday, but here we're saying if it's consecutive multi-days, then it would require city commission approval. The next slide identifies that we brought this amendment to the Planning and Zoning Board February 17th. The Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval provided the language was added about the groundbreaking events, and that was approved with a 5-0 vote. And at this time, staff's recommending approval of the proposed text amendment on first reading. And as you know, we'll be back for second reading of the amendment as well if it's approved tonight. Any questions for staff?
Thank you. I don't see anyone with their hand raised from the commission, but this is a public hearing. Is there anyone to speak for or against this? Seeing no one?
Make a motion, Mayor. Approve.
Have a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Awesome. 9.2.
Is a resolution of the city of Dania Beach, Florida, approving the appeal request for applications SP 00720 site plan and VA 07820 variance submitted by B&B Investment Solutions LLC, owner of 3321 Southwest 44th Street in Dania Beach, providing for conflicts, further providing for an effective date, community development item. This has been proposed by the attorney for the applicant to continue this until the March 23 commission meeting to give the applicant and the attorney more time to meet with the affected neighbors.
Thank you, Tom. Corinne LaJoy, Assistant Director again. I do know, I can see that the applicant's attorney, Jeremy Shear, is online if you have any questions, but it was his request to continue it for a month to allow additional talks with the adjacent residents.
Okay.
Again, Mayor, if there's anybody that's here because it was advertised, they are permitted to speak, but it will be continued.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you. It will. What we're proposing is to be continued to date certain, so we will not be re-advertising because we're making that announcement tonight that it will be continued to March 23rd.
All right. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak for or against this item? Seeing we have none, do I have a motion to go ahead.
Move to continue the item to March 23rd.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thank you, Jeremy. All right. We have one item. It's an addendum for discussion and possible action. I ask that this item be added because I've had a conversation with the owner, Izzy, I believe it's at the Roadway Inn. And I felt like it was vital to bring this back to the board to get, they were looking for a blessing from the commission or from me. And I told them that I don't make decisions on my own. I needed to run this by you all and see your thoughts on it and get back with him. We had a conversation with him along with our chief, Danny Marks. So this is regarding, they want to be able to utilize another grant that would allow Fort Lauderdale to place the homeless again in his hotel to keep them employed and get business and fix the homeless problems. And I think that Fort Lauderdale is doing a number of other hotels. My first question was why Dania Beach? Why not Fort Lauderdale? And of course, you know, they gave me a bunch of reasons. I just wanted to know your thoughts on it, your concerns on it. I know that Captain Marks listed a number of things that have to be okayed before we gave a blessing, we cannot deny them from doing it. That's very important to know. We can't, I see you, Commissioner Llewellyn. We can't deny them from doing it. I already spoke with Eve. However, for us to give a blessing, you know, I told them that I wasn't comfortable giving a blessing or anything like that on my own without coming to you all first. So the floor is open to discuss it. I know that they had a homicide in the past. I know that they've had several calls of service to that hotel. He's spoken about all those things and kind of defended those things and everything else. So I'm just bringing this to the board. So go ahead, Commissioner Llewellyn.
So the history on this, because I had to deal with this last year. Basically, Fort Lauderdale decided to give out vouchers to homeless residents.
Again, can everybody, because I can't hear you, can everybody else mute their backgrounds? I can't hear. Maybe a couple more. All right, go ahead now.
Yeah, last year, Fort Lauderdale gave out a bunch of vouchers to the homeless to go and stay at this particular hotel without notifying anybody in the city. It was very controversial. There were a lot of discussions that went back and forth. I recall there was an agreement that was written up between the city of Dania Beach and the city of Fort Lauderdale. And at that time, Fort Lauderdale was required to actually pay for a BSO officer to be there 24/7. Because there were so many issues and so many calls. This was before the homicide took place, but it was a problem, a major problem. And they did that without even speaking to us initially. And then I know that another group took over and started paying for some of the individuals to stay there as well, and that's when the homicide took place. So now, if Fort Lauderdale's back wanting to do this again, I'm wondering through the mayor to the city attorney, can we write up another agreement requiring Fort Lauderdale to pay for a BSO officer, or what can be done?
My understanding that there is no inclination to do that.
Sure, of course not. It's not cheap.
It's very expensive.
It's very expensive, but I mean, if this is going to be, how many people are they talking about? Do we know?
70 to 75.
That's a lot.
For several months. Again, as the mayor pointed out, we don't have any codes or ordinances or provisions that give us the ability to stop it. Yes, Commissioner Salvino's got a question. Vice Mayor has a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do have a question. You know, a while back, when situations occurred at a different hotel like this, conversation came up about how many calls to service that the BSO had to go to. And with that, it turns into a nuisance abatement, which you can, I thought there was an ordinance on that we had implemented back then, that if you had so many calls to that, they could start fining the owners of the property, and then continue on until almost to the point to where if nothing was resolved, you'd lien the property. And then eventually, I believe it's called eminent domain, the property for that purpose, following the nuisance abatement ordinance that I thought we had in place, Tom.
Yes, we did. We did adopt such an ordinance 2 years ago when you were still on the commission. It was to help address the Motel 6 for the police chief's request, which still needs to be done on some more details. But it's not about the number necessarily. It's just that it's a public nuisance. So if this becomes a public nuisance, it gives us the ability to take them to the special magistrate. First offense would be $250 for the first day, $500 every day thereafter if that becomes an issue. But we have to prove the case before the magistrate, which if it arises to that level, we will do. There is an ordinance though that you had sponsored.
Yes, but we don't have that nuisance abatement board anymore.
It's a different law, Mayor. It's something that the Commissioner Salvino had brought up. We then adopted an ordinance that was modeled after a couple other cities, and it's not based on the nuisance abatement board, which is based on the state law. It's only for limited circumstances where 2 acts of prostitution are committed within 6 months, or 2 drug offenses that are felonies are committed, or receiving of stolen property. None of those were helping us with the issues we had. So we adopted a new ordinance, which has been on the books, hasn't been used yet, but could be used if this becomes a problem.
Yes, yes. Were you finished with your comments, Commissioner Llewellyn?
Not quite, but Commissioner Davis had a question. Let her go ahead and I'll come back. It's okay.
Okay, go ahead,
Tom
Commissioner
pretty
Davis.
much addressed it. I was, because my understanding that there was over 383 calls to, about this specific, place, and BSO had to go out. So if it wasn't about the number of calls, then what constituted a nuisance? And I think you kind of alluded to it, but I think 383 calls in 1 year has to be taken very seriously.
Go ahead, Commissioner Llewellyn.
And it's not even, it wasn't even for a full year. I mean, it was a fairly short time period when that took place. And then they brought in the BSO officer who was there 24/7. And then eventually they started dispersing people into different locations in order to try to resolve the problem. But I'm assuming, and I think this is 75, isn't that more than what they had in there the last time?
I believe it is, yes.
So what are we, I mean, do we have any, if we don't have a choice and we have to do this, what are our options?
No, I don't think we can't tell them they can't do it. They reached out, they wanted to be transparent with the city. They wanted to have a meeting with myself. I told them I would rather have a meeting with them and Captain Marks and the city manager and the team, to say our concerns, but he wanted our blessing. And I told him I can't give him a blessing by myself that I would bring into the board. I mean, the blessing kind of does not much anyway, I would assume, because we legally have no holdings in allowing them to have this. I don't know what our choices are, but I definitely want you to know this may or may not happen. I'm not sure if it will, but I wanted to let everyone be aware of it, and to see if it's something that you all want to bless or not. That was the reason why it's on the agenda.
It was a major, major problem last time, and it caused a tremendous amount of controversy. In addition to that, it didn't look good for this city. It didn't look good for Fort Lauderdale. It didn't look good for anybody, and it wasn't serving the homeless population. It really wasn't. So I can't give my blessing on this. I don't know what our options are. If there is something legally we can do about it, and I'm also concerned about what it's going to do to our resources.
Okay.
That's a major problem.
Is there anyone else that, how do the rest of everyone else feel? I mean, blessing.
I don't really understand what this means, Mayor. A blessing? Like, I wouldn't know. I don't understand what that means. So
They wanted our support. They wanted our support to be able to go out and have this program, and I guess be able to say we have support from the city. So that's what I considered as our blessing, a blessing
they
from
do
us.
not have my support or a blessing.
You said what?
They do not have my support or
Okay.
Mayor, if I may,
go ahead.
I just want to put it on the record that they have a certain bottom line of monies that they're going to make from this program, but the value of having a BSO there to augment security is extremely important. Specifically, when 383 calls, that means we're taking our BSO off of our streets and our neighborhoods and our community and sending them over there. And I've been there several times, as I mentioned to you and our chief, and we're very, very concerned. And as elected official and as a chief administrator of the city, I know that legally we can't do anything, but at least we put it on the record that we recommend that he follows the guidance of our chief of police and have a BSO officer there.
Well, the thing is, I don't know if the support is there even with the BSO officer. I know I'm not sure. Does that change anything for you all? Because some of the things that we did discuss were making sure they have background checks and all these other things and protocols, but it wouldn't be BSO doing the background checks. They would have to bring it and a whole bunch of stipulations. But I honestly don't think that the support would change whether or not they had one dedicated officer there.
You're absolutely right. I don't recommend it. But if they're going to do it anyway, can we say,
can we make them do that? Can we make them have a dedicated BSO officer there, Tom?
We cannot.
Right.
Can we send them a bill for all the additional resources that we have to spend on this? Because the last time my recollection was it was a non-stop situation where the police were being called daily, if not more often than that.
they had an option to use a hotel across the street on State Road 84, which is in Fort Lauderdale. My suggestion to the property owner, Mr. Finns, was then let them go across the street and let Fort Lauderdale Police Department field all these calls. Of course, that was not the answer he wanted to hear, because he's trying to make the money because he's suffering from the lack of cruise control. So that's not our issue. I'm sorry, but we're not here to support your hotel. And again, I don't think the commission supports this. I think if the mayor wishes to call the mayor from Fort Lauderdale, as you did as the former mayor, and object to it, you could do that, Mayor. If the manager wants to call the manager, it didn't work last time, and it caused a nightmare in the Sun Sentinel. But it is something you could let them know you don't support it.
No, I just don't agree with them already trying to fund that without coming through us first as a city. You know, that's the part that rubs me the wrong way. Like, if you wanted to do this between cities, we should have had a workshop, or you should have presented it to us as a board, and we could have objected it or whatever. But to find out that the city is moving forward without even contacting our city, I'm not sure the city manager contacted our city manager or anything like that. But that is my main issue, to just kind of wing this on us. But I don't know how we're gonna handle it. It doesn't seem like. Raise your. Do we have the support, Commissioner Davis?
Because you know, for me, if they're going to have the ability to do it anyway, I would just say, you know, I would be willing to say you have my support if you're going to get a BSO officer there 24/7. I think having a BSO officer there 24/7, that is the recommendation of the commission. If we just say no, then, you know, they're not going to do it. We're going to have all these calls and there's nothing we can do about it. So I would prefer to have some kind of pressure to be able to say or make them feel that they should have a BSO officer there 24/7.
I would like to Denny Marks to come back on. Captain, Captain Marks, can you hear me?
He's muted.
Okay, there you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. I wanted you to come on because I hear what Commissioner Davis is saying, that she wants to follow the recommendation. What is your recommendation?
We can't support this. We tried to work with them last time, and they backed out of everything they said that they were going to do, and the damper it put on our resources was just out of control. There's no way they're going to do background checks on all these people. We don't know if they're sexual offenders. We don't know if they're convicted felons. We don't know anything. And they not only will go out and they'll be panhandling in the street, or they'll be inviting. Half of them weren't even homeless last time. They were inviting their friends over and showing up, you know, in BMWs and Range Rovers. It's a horrible program. It's not put together right. And if they're going to do it, they need to do it right, to where it serves a legitimate purpose to helping homeless individuals. And that it's not the case. They're purely in it for the money, and that's plain and simple. They're not going to have a deputy there 24/7. Izzy's already made it perfectly clear, and they already have a start date. I will bet that they already have a start date to when they're going to occupy those hotel rooms.
For sure. Do you know if they went ahead, because they said that they needed to know something, you know, like last week when we had the meeting, but I was like, well, you're gonna have to wait until we, you know, go to the commission to even discuss this.
They're
end up being selected.
I'm sorry, man. They already had it planned out. They're doing it anyway, regardless of what we say.
Exactly.
I don't trust anything from those people. No.
I didn't know that. I don't know, Commissioner Davis, if that changes anything for you or.
No, it does. I mean, you know, I just was trying to see if there was a way, or if, you know, if we had the presence there, would that make a difference? And what it's sounding like is that the chief's saying no matter what we do, it's not going to make a difference. So, you know, I mean, I didn't support it overall because I don't, you know, support depleting our resources. But I do appreciate the chief coming on and giving his additional opinion, because I was just trying to find a way to be able to pressure them to have the support, but it doesn't seem like it would matter. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We have two teams that are committed, dedicated to assisting homeless individuals, whether it's in our city or not in our city or bordering our city. And all they do is go out and try to place them, get them jobs, get them driver's license. And that's not the case over there. We were so busy during those months. And if you see the spreadsheet that I provided last week, the 3 months that it was at their peak of bringing these people in, our calls for service just ramped up. 50, 60 calls a month is out of control.
Sorry. Okay, I know we have Vice Mayor and then Commissioner Llewellyn.
Thank you, Mayor. Tom, you brought up the thing, I brought up the nuisance situation. Can't we just put a solid pressure on that as the fines, and as what the fines are going to start offsetting the profit that they're making to the point to where we can start putting, have them go in front of the magistrate. It's either going to, one way or another, he's not going to be making the money if he's going to be getting fined constantly.
Well, that's what we're going to have to follow.
Implement that ordinance and give it to Chief Marks, and you guys get with the city manager and count those things up and get those couple of things that are there. Then you simply, bring them into court and shut them down.
That's the one resource we have, and we will use that to the extent.
I think it's your only choice at this point, and we just need to implement it as quick as possible and make him understand that we're not going to put up with 300 some odd calls and deplete our police department. That's all I have to say, Mayor.
All right, Commissioner Llewellyn.
I just wanted to ask the chief, what is the plan for dealing with them, knowing that they're going to likely be in there? Do you have? I mean, I know you don't have the resources to keep dealing with this. I mean, it's just because I know how much it was last time, and it was a nightmare, and it literally took away from the rest of the city.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, we're going to deal with anything that comes our way and be successful at it. We'll take care of it.
I know you will. I'm just concerned.
I will keep everybody updated on our progress, but we will monitor it extremely closely. And I'm not really worried about anything.
Okay. Well,
thank you.
There's no support there. We'll move on along to commissioner comments. Thank you, Captain Marks and Tom and City Manager for that. Commissioner Davis.
Yes. I will have a few comments just about some of the events that I've attended and some that are coming up. I want to thank the chief and the Dolphins and the community who came out to the food distribution. I really think those kind of events where they're outside, where they're safe, the community loves seeing us out there together, helping them. And if you saw the amount of cars, the amount of people that came out, I think it's a very clear message that we have a lot of people who are still very much in need from this pandemic, and they love to see their commissioners out there in support of them. So I want to thank everybody who put that together, manager, everybody who facilitated this distribution, because I think it was a very, very successful event. And I had no idea we had Caribbean food in Dania Beach. So I am super excited that I can go get my Escovitch fish tomorrow. And so that was a wonderful, wonderful thing. I also attended the Olson Middle School demolition. I was not a part of that huge team who fought for 28 years to get that done, but that was a huge success. And that was another event that really had a great community feel. A lot of the residents like Mimi Donnelly, whose birthday it is today, and Patty Hart and Pat Chuckerman, all these community leaders came together along with our team and certain elected officials who just did not give up. So I don't take credit where credit was due. It was not due to me. It was due to the work and the hard work of all of you all who did not give up to make that happen. But it was certainly a wonderful and a successful event. And I'm glad to see there's going to be some green space, you know, where that building once was. I also want to briefly mention, and I'll leave this to the vice mayor, but I did go to the softball game. I'm glad that we had an outside event again. Those girls were awesome. I want to thank Parks and Rec. I want to thank the manager because we got to see kids playing and seeing girls doing such an awesome job in their sports. The families were there. It was safe. It was outside. And so I just want to thank everybody involved with that. And then the last thing that we have come, oh, one thing for the city manager with the hate crimes. The city of Hollywood called me because there was a Star of David in our city and it had the swastika signs. It was during all around it. So it was just truly a hate crime. And the city of Hollywood contacted me. I contacted the manager right away. We were on a holiday, but it didn't matter. They went and took care of that situation right away and followed up to make sure that it was going to be investigated as a hate crime. So I just want to thank you for getting rid of that kind of hate in our city so quickly because it really makes a big difference. That kind of graffiti, I know we have graffiti issues, but that kind we needed to get rid of so quickly. So the last thing, we've been invited to a United Way of Broward County. It is their Day of Caring, the 29th annual Day of Caring, where you can collect and fill shoe boxes and decorate shoe boxes with essential items to give to the homeless. We can collect food for local pantries, or people can write a letter to their local legislator, and they are giving 5 hours of service learning hours to children. So I wanted to put all of that out there and thank you guys for another wonderful commission meeting.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Luella.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. That food distribution was fantastic. It really was good, and they had so much food, really so much food. But I'm glad to see that there were so many people that were able to come out and enjoy it. Olson as well. I also attended the Olson demolition, which was fantastic. Everybody was really happy and really excited. I was glad to see that the residents who were directly involved in this, like Mimi and Pat and Patty, were all there and all invited and were right up front so they could be involved in the whole process and see everything that was going on. And it was, it was on the news, and apparently we are one of the first buildings that they're addressing, and there's a number of other buildings that the school board is addressing. But I'm so glad ours was first because it's been there for so long and just has needed to come down. And yes, they are going to go towards green space, but I think our city manager may be talking about that in her report. So I'll leave that to her, and also to the vice mayor for the softball game. But I'm so glad that was put on. They are fantastic girls, fantastic athletes who really did a great job. And it was nice to see the turnout and people being safe and outdoors and really just enjoying the day, even though it was a little bit breezy. I also wanted to let everybody know, I don't know if everybody here is aware of one of our residents who would come to our commission meetings on a regular basis and was well known to all of us. Carmen DePaulo just passed away. Very sad, but he's in a better place now. The last thing that I want to bring up is a little bit controversial, but I think it needs to be addressed. There is a pending order likely coming out from the governor to lower the flags to half staff in honor of Rush Limbaugh passing away. I have spoken to the city manager. I've spoken to legal about this. I think it is something that we need to ignore or just simply object to, mainly because it's a political issue. It is not being used for the proper reasons. There are other cities and other individuals who are also doing the same thing, and they are encouraging other city leaders to do the same and refuse to lower the flags half-staff. And I think it is something that would not be appropriate to follow simply because it is not really following what the state's policy is on lowering flags. But I don't believe this is something that I can just simply say we can do. But I wanted to bring it to the commission to see if everybody else felt the same way, if there was a consensus to do this. And if the order comes out, because apparently there's a lot of pressure that's coming now, you know, at that time for us to just say, no, we're not going to do it. I think it sets a really bad precedent simply because the fact that this is not, it's not the purpose for doing the half staff. When you lower the flags to half staff, it's supposed to be honoring somebody who has basically been a public servant of some sort, whether it's a fallen officer or a city leader or somebody like that. This is for somebody who wasn't even a resident in the city, and you know, is more of an entertainer than anything else. So I wanted to bring it to the commission to see what everybody thought about it and see if we had some consensus so that we could bring it back to the city manager to make the determination.
I actually had it on my list of things to discuss as well. I wanted to know would there be any implications and what they are from the city attorney for ignoring the order, because I'm definitely in favor of ignoring it.
There is an executive office of the governor flag protocol that we examined. One of the frequently asked questions is there a penalty for not raising or lowering the flags according to a code or proclamation? No, the flag code does not prescribe any penalties for non-compliance, nor does it include enforcement provisions.
Okay.
As Ms. Llewellyn pointed out, for this particular gentleman, there is not a list of, he doesn't fall within the list of the people who would otherwise be honored by that kind of a thing. It's somewhat unusual. It is controversial. It's gotten a lot of press throughout the nation, actually, and national, but it's the city's choice whether to observe it or not to.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, he simply
It hasn't been set yet, by the way. The wife has pointed out that not until a date is picked to do an interment, that would be the day it would happen, and that's in the future sometime.
Awesome. I just think he simply doesn't qualify, and I think with where we're trying to go as a city, that just doesn't fit in as a person that I would want to honor. So I'm definitely in favor of ignoring the governor's order once it comes out. Commissioner Ottman?
In his wisdom, didn't the president come out with the proclamation yesterday at around 4:40 about to lower flags to half staff in honor and in observation of the 500,000 who have died from COVID? Will we not be lowering the flag for that?
You will probably want to do it for that as a direct presidential direction.
Okay, so obviously the point was we're going to be lowering our flag one way or another. And to make it bearable for those of us who perhaps don't recognize this man that the governor is trying to make us recognize, we will be observing and remembering the people who have died from COVID. But it looks like one way or another, we're going to be lowering the flag. We've also lowered in the past for like the MSD victims and that sort of thing. Right. And that's what we'll be doing it for. And we can even put on our website, flag will be low, just to clarify.
Is it a COVID color? Is it a color associated with COVID? Maybe we can light up, see how that color, so they'll know is for one thing and not for the other, or I don't know.
Absolutely, we can do something, especially with our public information officer. You know, whether it's like you said, lighting up the night for COVID, something, or
maybe we'll make a video together
in conjunction to make it clear that the reason the Dania Beach flag is flying at half staff today is because of the federal order for the proclamation that was put out by the president in remembrance of the 500,000 who have died, and leaving it at that.
Okay.
And can I just say, it's not even a political thing. It's more. It's just we're setting a bad precedent. I think if you start lowering the flag for people that really don't meet the requirements. I mean, it's just because that it doesn't even matter what side you're on. It's a matter of it just sets a really bad precedent because then what's going to happen next? You know what I mean? If you get somebody else who is far left wing who passes away, then are you going to lower the flag then? It's just that's really it's just a bad precedent to set. Anyway, that's all.
Well, thank you. Those are your comments.
That's it. I'm done.
All right, Commissioner Ahmed.
I have no comments this evening. Thank you so much.
Vice Mayor. Can't hear
Thank
you.
you, Mayor. Yeah, thank you. I just unmuted. Yes, Mayor, thank you very much. I want to address a couple of things. I turn away because I'm reading my notes here. You know, Commissioner Davis, you know, on the thing you talked about the beach cleanup, you know, you mentioned the girls that were playing softball. Those coaches offered service hours. You know, you might want to give them and some of the seniors that you're working with there and maybe be able to get some service hours out there for all the high schools in the area or any other groups that are out there to do those beach cleanups with the Oregon, you know, with some sort of a schedule. I think that would be, I think they'd like it, and I think it'd be beneficial to your program. The softball, I'll talk about the softball. As everybody is aware that, you know, I asked the city manager and to help me to try to bring a little bit of sports back into the Frost Park with some baseball, softball, t-ball, and I was able to get two girls travel nationally ranked girls travel softball team fast pitch to come out there on Saturday. I have to tell you, Friday night everybody was in Dania monsoon, and the park was underwater all night Friday night. When we got there Saturday morning, right field never the park, the field over there stayed underwater. There was nothing they could do. I have to give credit, a lot of credit to Eric Brown and Coco, Raphael, Anthony, all those guys that came out there and worked. They worked for 4 straight hours and they worked hard to make that park ready for the girls to play ball in. Anybody that came out and watched it, there was quite a few residents out there besides the parents of the thing watching these girls play. These girls are as good as any high school team, and they're 13 years old. And you know, they're some of the pitchers, as you girls saw, were throwing the balls in the high 50s and 60 mile an hour range at 13 and 14 years old. It's pretty crazy to watch them and how they threw the ball. I was very impressed with how they played. I see it a lot. I'm glad the residents of Dania Beach saw it. Hoping to work with the commission manager and the Parks and Recreation director and maybe start a T-ball program and start from the bottom and work our way up and get the parks back in shape again. But I do want to I can't thank everybody enough for how much work you guys put into making that go out. We also had a donor that we were able to provide everybody that was there hot dogs and hamburgers and ice cream, and it was all handled with gloves, and one person handled the ketchup bottles and did it for everybody else, so nobody touched anything. We would follow guidelines. There was spacing out on people, so it was we watched very carefully what we did out there, and everybody stayed around. A lot of people even wore masks outside just to help it out as well. You know, I had a good time. You know, other than that, I mean, I'm looking forward to working with the commission on our sports program, our parks, you know, our new parks program that we're going to be doing in fields and stuff. But thank you very much for that. You know, I did attend the Olson Middle School. You know, I was one of the 2 people, I guess, that were there that day that actually went to Olson. It used to be called Olson Junior High School. And the 2 names I think that were mentioned was myself and Mayor James. And both of us were, you know, alumni to that school. And we have probably both, I know I have a lot of memories. I'm sure the mayor does as well. You know, that was just about 10 years ago for you though, Mayor, right? And but anyhow, we had a good time. I mean, it was very nice to see there's a lot of public out there. Residents were there. They did the school board did a great job, and the principal Harris is she's absolutely wonderful over there too. And she's pumped. I told her she's in the wrong business. She should be a motivator. But anyhow, I just attended that. And I'm glad to see it go down. I'm glad there's going to be green. I hope there's going to be green space there. I know that I would not be in favor for anything other than that. But that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you, Mayor. You're muted, Mayor.
Sorry, thank you. I guess I'll start with the softball and baseball. I am glad to see sports coming back. I have seen even some people training on the football field. I would love for us to have a baseball program as well. Wanted to get my son in it. I'm tired of taking him up to other cities. He's in track in Hollandale. He's in basketball in a whole nother state. You know, I'm just ready to, yeah, he's in basketball in Atlanta twice a month. I mean, I'm just ready to get some sports and things here in our city so our youth don't have to go through the same thing I had to go through when I was growing up. And that's why I always had to play basketball in Hollywood. We always had to play our sports in another city. We have, I think, competent enough staff, especially in Eric Brown, to be able to facilitate a thriving sports program here. And I'm thinking that we can do it with COVID. I think COVID isn't going anywhere. We just have to learn how to live with COVID. And so following all the safety protocols, making sure our children and our adults, you know, because just we have children's leagues, we need to have adult leagues, co-ed leagues, and all of those different types of things. So I'm excited for the possibilities to come from our sports. I also was excited that Joe's Island Grill and Cafe was able to facilitate so much food in one distribution with the Dolphins and BSO. I'm always glad to see those types of things happen. I know that I received communication, and the rest of us probably did, that we already budgeted for the West Wing. And so I'm not sure if we want to just give that approval right now, because we just spoke about it in the workshop, instead of having to bring it back, because we have the funding and we've already budgeted for those types of things, those improvements to happen. I know the first year we kind of budgeted for remediation and things like that and cleaning up, and we did that. And the next step, we budgeted for what is coming up right now. So do we have the consensus to just move forward with that, since we already have the monies for it? Can I have a show of hands if you are okay with that? And okay, so City Manager, you don't have to bring that back. Let's just
Thank you.
Start working on that. Yes, the Olsen demolition, I was sad I wasn't able to be there, but there have been a lot of meetings over a lot of years, a lot of people that have poured their energies into it. It had been on the books for the school board for a number of years that it was approved, but they had never funded that project. And so I am glad that for everyone who has sat at the table, who has put pressure not only on Runcie, but and Murray, our school board member, and everyone else, and not let up, because your persistence has paid off. I look forward to the possibilities of some type of green space and sports complex that can be utilized with us, as well as Olsen, and maybe we can throw a small type of culture type center for some arts programs and stuff there as well. So I'm looking forward to those possibilities. I wanted to ask the city manager about the welcome sign. We have maybe 10% lights still there. Are we going to have them take that off? Because they look really stringy now. Like some of them are on branches that are falling. It just doesn't really look good anymore. So unless we're gonna like tighten it back up and keep it up, I would prefer us to like take it down. It looks like chipped nail polish at this point.
As a matter of fact, I was just discussing this with Candido about some of the landscaping and taking a second look and fixing it a little bit more. Did you mean the one by the airport?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was some landscaping that was planted there that just grows too wild. So we're going to be removing that and reassessing it and tidying it up and making it look nice.
I'm talking about the holiday lights that are still wrapped around some of the trees.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The holiday lights that are still wrapped around some of the trees, that it doesn't look comprehensive, that the entire, I took pictures of it, but it doesn't look like the entire welcome area is lit. It's only like maybe 10, 15% lit now. And it's not uniform. It just doesn't look good. So if you go by there after you leave the meeting, if you drive by there, you'll be able to see it. I think it needs to come down unless they're going to relight the entire thing.
Where is it at again, ma'am?
The welcome sign, right? The same sign that you're talking about. But
by the airport. I'll go check it out now, ma'am.
Okay, okay, thank you. What else do I have? I want to remind everyone for the Lighthouse Church, their fundraiser breakfast. It will be happening at 9 o'clock. It is a drive-through at the Lighthouse Church right there across the street from Checkers on US 1. I don't know their address by heart. And the Tamara James Foundation was able to team up with the Liberia Civic Association, I believe, to conduct a conjoint street cleaning on J.A. Ely, which is half Hollywood and half Dania. And I thought that was pretty fun to have both Dania and Hollywood kind of together and kind of blended as one and bonding as one, and not necessarily Dania versus Hollywood, to make sure that our streets from Sheridan to Sterling were completely clean on both sides. The Tamara James Foundation has adopted that road. And that just made me want to ask, are we going to be facilitating any more Oasis cleanups? We haven't done it in years. And I think that was something good that we should possibly look into doing again. It kind of brought the community out, it brought people out, and everyone just made sure everything was clean. Of course, I know with COVID, we would have certain protocols, but I think that will be a good project for us to do, to get out there and make sure our even if we did it on the beach cleanup or if we did it on the streets, like continue to rotate certain cleanups to make sure that we're continuing to invest and do it ourselves, as well as, you know, relying on staff and other agencies to do it. So you think we could look into that, City Manager?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. And I think that is it for tonight. I thank you all for staying and rocking this out with us. And so we're going to go right into our appointments. I have an appointment. I have two for Parks and Recreation, Tom. One is Ivy Cure, and the other one is Deborah Bell. I will give you their contact information once I receive that. And I also wanted to add the alternate appointment by Commission at Large, that it will go to Daniel Sohn. So those are my two appointments for tonight.
Mayor, could you repeat the name for the alternate on the planning board?
Daniel Sohn.
Thank you.
Okay. Did anyone else have appointments today? Commissioner Davis?
Okay. Am I on? Yeah, I'm on. All right. For the Green Advisory Board, I'm going to have Keisha Johnson. For the Marine Advisory Board, we're going to have Martin Prolu.
Do you have their addresses, or are you going to give it to Tom later?
This is just, I've sent the name, addresses, phone numbers, and emails that I had to Tom already. So I'm just announcing them just so everybody knows. Parks and Rec, we have Mary Giovanni. Parks and Rec, Forrest Goldwire, and Airport Advisory Board, Patricia De La Fuente.
Okay. Vice Mayor Scalvino?
Yeah, Mayor, I was wondering, we have the Creative Arts Council. You know, with the new funding that we have coming up, I've been asked to ask the commission that, you know, we would take this particular advisory board and combine it with help me out here with the new art
with
thing.
The Arts and Public Places board.
Yes, Arts and Public Places. Now, I know I'm okay with whatever the commission decides to do, but I've been asked to combine it. If not, to maybe take and expand. We have five spots in the Creative Arts Council, and expand it to maybe 10, because people are getting more into the arts now that we have funding out there. They want to be interactive with the other program as well. I don't know if it's something we can talk about maybe at a discussion next time in another meeting, because you know, I've gotten actually 3 people that asked me similar questions to that. But you know,
yeah, I received that too. I'm okay with combining the boards, but when I initially was speaking with Eleanor and Corinne and the other young lady about the Art and Public Places, I said maybe we can just have the majority of the Art and Public Places board be the Creative Arts Council. So maybe a subcommittee.
Yeah.
I would say, maybe have 3 to 5 people from the Creative Arts Council to come and join in with, because I think that we're going to need some key members on the Art and Public Places Board that may have different positions in different cities and agencies. I'm not sure of that yet, so I was going to wait on the guidance, but I'm definitely in support of combining them, because you have a number of the Creative Arts Council who feels like, this is supposed to be their job and what their contribution as a board, and now we're creating a separate board, so they kind of feel left out, and I definitely I don't think that was the intent from anyone, and I don't want them to feel left out.
Right, that's maybe why we could actually, maybe think about raising it to 10 people, and then we can take half of those 10 people, move them to the other side as well. So that's something just to think about. Maybe you guys could toss it around, between the next 2 weeks if you want. Whatever board is, I'm okay with. I have an appointment. I'd like to appoint Pat Chuckerman to the Creative Art Council, please.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm done.
Anyone else? Do we have a motion and a second?
Make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Awesome. Administrative report, City Manager?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Real quick, I wanted to see if we could reschedule the ribbon cutting at the Dania Point substation. We have taken care of some of the challenges that we were facing with the HVAC. And it's simple 5 to 5:30 type of event. And I wanted to see everyone's availability for Wednesday, March 3rd, next Wednesday.
I'm available.
At what time? The same time?
Yes, from 5 to 5:30.
Oh, okay.
March.
Wednesday.
Yeah, but we have that day we're scheduled to do the videos from 4 to 7 o'clock. I am.
Okay.
You go and get mine.
The other day, Monday, March 8th.
4:30.
Monday, yeah.
Available on March the 8th.
I'm good with that.
I'm available.
Okay. Commissioner Oddman?
Yes, that's fine. What time?
5 o'clock, 5 to 5:30, Monday, March 8th. Okay, thank you. We'll send a calendar invite on that. We had a great meeting with the Broward County School Board. It included folks from the Runcie team. And it was really, really exciting about the possibilities there. A lot went into, and a lot of people contributed. So perseverance does pay off. So thank you to all the residents, all the current and former elected officials for the work that was done there. They would like to work with us, and I've already discussed that with our Parks Director, who was on the meeting with me, and we've been communicating with our legal team. And that's something that I would like to discuss further when we bring the Parks Master Plan discussion. But they would like to enter in some sort of agreement with the city, 25 years. And after discussion with some of you, we believe that it should be more like 30 or 40 years. If we're going to invest in that facility, they're going to leave it nicely pristine and sod, leveled, and graded. But going forward, there's some needs that the school has and needs that we have in that community for recreation, cultural, and education. And this is for another discussion or workshop, but I just wanted to see if there was consensus for us to take the next step and continue the dialogue with the school board for a possible partnership.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. We are recommending a moratorium at this moment on additional and new speed humps. We'd like to finish the next couple of months of this fiscal year and correct the 90% of the existing ones that are out of compliance, that are causing a lot of issues, including drainage issues. when we move too quickly, and I love to move quickly, as you know, but when we move too quickly to do things without first fixing everything that's broken, it's causing a little bit of a challenge. So we'd like to get your support to fix all the ones that are out of compliance and move forward in the next fiscal year with the list that we have and any new additional speed humps for our city. With your ongoing support, we've taken a very, very proactive and leadership role in regards to combating COVID-19 and minimizing the exposure to our employees. But we are ready to open up City Hall. We've been working on a game plan to do it at 50% capacity, like we have our parks, and do it safely and responsibly. And we have a list that we checked off because some residents do want to do business. We don't anticipate that there's going to be a lot. We're going to be rolling out our new payment kiosk within the next 2 weeks, and Frank will be making a presentation. But we're going to be opening March 1st from 8:30 in the morning to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Fridays will be open to do scheduled appointments, meetings, workshops, etc. And we're going to be extremely careful in regards to COVID. We don't want the fiasco that happened in other cities when they opened up and all of a sudden they had to shut down. Let's see, I have two.
Manager, through the mayor. So is this meaning that we will be having our commission meeting on the 9th? Are we intending to have that at City Hall?
I'm addressing the City Hall day-to-day operations. Having your commission meetings virtual or having them in person, that's up to you. We will be ready to go if that is your direction and that is your desire.
I'm ready to go back. I'm not sure how the rest feels, but I'm definitely ready to go back to the chambers. How do you all feel about that? Go ahead, Commissioner Llewellyn.
I'd like to see how things go with opening the building first. Because like the manager said, there have been issues in other cities where they open up and then there's suddenly an outbreak. And I'd like to make sure that it's working first.
Vice Mayor? Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I can't hear her. We can't hear you, Commissioner Llewellyn, because the backgrounds of.
I would suggest maybe, if we're going to do that, I would suggest maybe do it at the second March meeting, not the first, just to give us some time to make sure that everything is going okay. And then obviously there have to be precautions as far as how many people could be there and that sort of thing. So that's all.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I was going to offer something similar. I was going to ask to wait until the April meeting. That way it gives City Hall 30 days to open up, see what happens, see what the flow of people are, see how hard it is to keep the place clean and maintain. Because I'm sure they're going to have people in there cleaning up behind everybody. See how it does it. But we might overwhelm staff if we start coming in there, and because then it's not just us coming in. If we open up for the meeting, and you got all the residents that are going to be coming in as well. So I think I'm just suggesting I'm ready to go back to City Hall. I was just hoping to ask for maybe the first meeting in April.
Commissioner Davis, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I was going to say, I don't have a problem with opening it up. I just wouldn't open it up to the public right away. If it was just us in the chambers, then I think that's more manageable to be able to keep it clean.
We can't
do it that way. Okay,
no.
There you go. Yeah.
But we would probably have the exterior doors opened up into the atrium and have it spaced out and have a cap. This is something that I kind of spoke with the city manager about. There would be a cap, maybe even looking to registering to attend the meeting and have like a waiting list for other people and be able to do it dually. We obviously, like we do in those workshops at IT Parker, still have it virtual because I think that if Tom can correct me, at least 3 people have to be there once we decide to come back. And if people decide that they're not feeling it and want to stay home, I think only 2 can stay home. Tom, is that correct?
That's to give a quorum. That is correct.
Okay, so you would have to have a quorum at City Hall, and then the other 2 could probably be virtual if you just decided, that day that you didn't want to come, but we can't restrict the public from not being there though. Go ahead, Commissioner Ahmed.
So can we tentatively plan in our minds to, pending how things go over the next 30 days, to have our first in-person commission meeting on April 13th?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
We'll be ready.
All right, City Manager.
Yeah.
Ready? And one of the things that Commissioner Odman asked me to do is just to make sure that we gave updates on things that came to the commission and went back to staff. And I wanted to let you know that last week we met with procurement, finance, and legal, and we're wrapping up the details for the food truck RFP. So that will be going out within the next 2 weeks. And also per your dialogue during your strategic master plan, you all spoke about our website and the changes that you would like to see made. And as we are assessing everything from the streets to the beach, the website is also something that we're going to be bringing forward. I met in detail with our finance director and IT and procurement. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on a request for qualification and RFQ for the design, maintenance, and hosting of our city's website. And we will provide the details and the costs related to that during budget workshop. And we'll recommend the monies to be put in fiscal year 22 so we can get rolling in the commencement of the new fiscal year. So that concludes my report. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Next, City Attorney.
Nothing to add, Mayor.
City Clerk, reminders.
Yes, upcoming meetings. Thursday, February 25th at 10 a.m. is the CRA Board Workshop. Saturday, March 6th at 10 a.m. is your strategic plan session. Tuesday, March 9, 5:30 p.m. CRA Board meeting, followed by a regular City Commission meeting at 7 p.m. That's all.
All right. And for the record, I will be attending that strategic planning session remotely. I'm not sure if anyone else, but just for staff to know. Okay. Thank you. With that, we are adjourned. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mayor.
Night.